like the Barstool guys because he's like, I'm not here to be like dick and fart jokes.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's their whole stick, which that's.
But then because it's funny because he says that and then Portnoy will come out and be like, you constantly ask me for a fucking job. What do you mean? He's like, what are you like? You're saying you want a job?
Switch your onboard mic on stream.
What do you mean? Check one.
Yeah, should be good. Yeah.
Is this in the right pot? In the thick one.
Yeah.
A Monday edition of the Sports Bash Live.
97.3
97.3
ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, live video streaming on the X platform and on YouTube at Mike Gill Show. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Mike Gill. Pete G's my on-site producer. Josh Henning is back in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. We've got the Eagles and the Chiefs just 6 days away from Sunday as we get you ready for Super Bowl 59. Boys, are you guys ready for the big game? Are you all set to go? Are you jonesing for football yesterday?
Let me be the first one to say this week we're going from Broad Street to Bourbon Street. Big
we
easy.
are.
Yes.
We will be.
That's my first one of the week. Many more to come, my friend.
We are en route tomorrow to Bourbon Street. We will be live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from the Big Easy. You could say. So yesterday was the first Sunday without any football. Were you like kind of searching for something to do?
Well, I was in Disney World over the weekend, so I was flying yesterday, but I did get home in time to see that Sixers game. Sixers-Celtics, they blow a 26-point lead.
I was watching the Sixers game last night. They're up 26. I actually went to I was watching Severance, which I've been watching on Apple. The second season just came out.
Yeah.
I said they're up 26. I went to Severance. I turned on my phone to take a look at the update at the final score, and I turned it on. They were losing.
Yeah. They've been losing a lot.
Actually, not really. They won 4 straight at one point, but they lost Friday night. They lost on Sunday. Apparently, from what I understand, everybody practiced today.
That's good.
So it looks like you could get Joel Embiid and you could get Paul George for the game they play tomorrow night against the new-look Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, my goodness.
No Luka Doncic tomorrow.
This is going to be the debut of AD probably, right? Is that what we're
I don't know if
thinking?
he's going to play tomorrow or not. He might. But I was, so this is interesting. Obviously you have Eagles and Chiefs on Sunday.
And by the way, the Flyers haven't scored a goal since you've been in Thailand, since you've been home from Thailand.
No, they have not. So the Eagles and Chiefs play Sunday. So if you were all like the get-ups and the first takes and all that stuff, I was really wondering today, would the Super Bowl be the first topic over the Luka Doncic trade? And, of course, the answer was no. The Luka trade took over the airwaves all over the place today. And then De'Aaron Fox got traded as well.
That was last
So,
night.
holy mackerel, a lot of big things happening. And it was almost like the NBA saw a little window to take us. Here's one thing with the NBA. This happens every year. So we're on Radio Row. And every year, I don't know why the NBA does this. Their trade deadline is on Super Bowl week. Why would
Thursday,
you do
right.
that? No, it's Friday this year.
Oh, it's Friday?
It's
Okay.
usually on Thursday, though. It's been on Thursdays in years past. But why would you put the Super Bowl, the trade deadline, like you want that attention?
Yeah.
I don't know why they do that.
I don't know either. And, I don't know why Dallas traded Luka Doncic to L.A. for Anthony Davis.
Well, I think he's fat and out of shape. That was their reason.
So
pretty
they
much.
say. I mean,
It pretty much seems like that's their reasoning is he's out of shape and they didn't think it sounds to me, if I'm reading between the lines on this, they don't feel that he is someone who wants to commit, like, culturally to what they want to do. That's what it sounded like. Now, I would look at that trade and be like, are you kidding me? Like, that's all you got? Like, okay, you want to trade Luka Doncic? Fine. He's not committed. But then get fair market value in return. Like, if you're saying that he is going to be traded because we don't think he fits into the culture here, you got to get more back than just Anthony Davis.
right. And to me, I have a problem with just giving up on a 25-year-old kid who just is, 4 or 5-time All-NBA team, made the finals last year, yada, yada, yada. I have a problem with that. And I also have a problem with only negotiating with one team.
That's the whole thing seemed like a problem. It almost felt like, you know how right now the conspiracy theory is that the refs, the NFL and the refs, they all want the Chiefs to win. They all want the Chiefs to be in the Super Bowl. It felt like a trade that the NBA was like, listen, LeBron is coming to the end of the road here. We need to get somebody in L.A. to kind of be the next guy for the Lakers. Would you consider trading Luka Doncic to L.A. so that they could have like a big face? Because LeBron says he's going to play one more year at least.
Yeah.
So he'll be there again next year, but he's going to be 41 years old. So after that, the league looks at the Lakers and says, well, what do you have? Who's like the next star there after LeBron? You got to figure this out. So they just said, all right, well, why don't we put Luka there? That's what it feels like, because this trade makes no sense otherwise, other than, listen, I think Dallas is fine this year. Like, they're probably still good enough to make the finals this year.
Yeah, I mean, right now they're hovering around 500, I think. So they really didn't have the start to the season that they wanted to. And there's no question that the NBA needs the Lakers to be good. They need the Lakers to be in the playoffs every year, the Western Conference Finals every year. They need the Lakers to play in June every year.
Well, and, the league's been having some challenges with the ratings and all that kind of stuff. But on the surface, the thing is, they traded Luka, who's 25, for Anthony Davis, who's 31. They got a first-round pick in return, but they didn't get multiple first-round picks in return. You're thinking, like, if I traded 25-year-old Luka Doncic, I'm getting back multiple first-round picks and a player. No, you gave the Lakers the opportunity now to – it's almost felt like the league is saying, hey, we got to help the Lakers get back to relevancy. I don't know. I mean, it's just a weird trade. And then I actually think the De'Aaron Fox deal, which isn't getting as much headlines, you pair him up with Victor Wembanyama, and it's like – holy mackerel, they got two young, absolute studs on that team now. So the NBA stole the show on a day where there was no football. Did you watch any Pro Bowl?
No. I had no interest in the Pro Bowl at all.
Josh, you're a football guy. Did you go Pro Bowl at all yesterday?
Please say no. Thank you.
Please say no.
I literally went college basketball to Flyers to Sixers.
Yeah, I had a little Flyers on yesterday. Actually,
well, they made a trade. Big-time trade over the weekend as well.
That was on
Thursday
Friday?
night.
Thursday.
Thursday?
Thursday night.
I mean,
Yeah.
Farabee and so you guys already talked about this on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on Thursday because we had
Well.
Durso on Friday's show.
There you go.
Yeah, but now the NHL trade deadline is not till March.
Yeah, March 7th.
Yeah, it's a while away. But a lot of teams are kind of making deals because of this Four Nations tournament that's coming up. So the Flyers haven't scored in like 3 games now.
They've been shut out 3 straight games. Yes.
3 straight games. Yeah, so when I landed on Thursday, I worked Friday. I have been waking up, like today, I woke up at 3:45 this morning, and I have been up since 3:45. Like, I just have been having trouble staying asleep through the night. So I fell asleep yesterday around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I probably fell asleep for about 2 hours yesterday. I woke up, put the Flyers game on, then I went to the Sixers game. But I'll tell you, the Flyers and the Sixers are not filling the void of not having football this weekend.
It's tough.
I can tell you that much. But Super Bowl Sunday's here. Here's a question I want to start out with for the people listening to start today's show. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Here's my initial question that I want to get everybody's temperature on. The Eagles are actually a 1.5 underdog in the game. Should they be the underdog?
I think
Like I tell everybody out there, the Eagles are the underdog in this game.
on paper,
Does that
yes.
sound right?
On paper, yes. At that big board at the Fanatic Sportsbook, I see -1.5 for KC.
Yep.
They should be underdogs just because it's KC. Going for history.
Okay,
Patrick
you're saying
Mahomes, the whole
just
deal.
because it's KC.
I think
but,
they get that benefit of the doubt.
But should they? Like, forget KC. It's these two teams. They don't have logos on their helmets.
Yeah, I mean, roster for roster, I think the Eagles should be the ones favored.
Right? How many people out there think that the Eagles are the clear favorite in this game? Like, as we reach the week of game now, last week is like, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. You're kind of pumped up about it. Now this week, as I'm getting ready for the show today, I looked at the line, and I was wondering if it had moved because it opened at 1.5, 2, depending on what book you like to use. Here at the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort, we have the board right in front of us, and Philadelphia is a 1.5 underdog in the game. Does that sound right?
I think this is just me being honest here. I think this week at Radio Row, when you asked for score predictions of our various guests, I think most of them are going to give you an Eagles victory. That both local and national folk. I think majority of the people will have the Eagles winning.
Yeah, I mean, listen, here's a couple things, okay? This is how I look at it. The Eagles team from this year is better than the one from 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
We all agree on that?
Yes.
100%.
The Chiefs team from this year, are they better or worse than the team from 2 years ago?
Worse.
Yeah, I would say not as good. But they still are a formidable opponent. I mean, just because they're not as good as they
Well,
were
it's
2
because
years
of
ago.
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, right?
Right. They still have the constant and Steve Spags.
True.
And Chris Jones and McDuffie. I mean, that's the core. Their core is still intact, right? Their core is still there. They have some interchangeable parts with Xavier Worthy and Pacheco now really taking a bigger role, but their core is still the same.
Yeah. So I remember being in Phoenix for the game, and I did various radio hits around the country, and on every one of them, I was extremely confident that the Eagles were flat out the better team. And as we hit Monday now, and I see this line has not moved, I'm a little surprised by this. And I'm thinking to myself, aren't the Eagles just flat out the better team here this week? Aren't they just better than the Chiefs are?
Yeah. Again, roster for roster, yes. But I think coaching-wise, the Chiefs will have the edge. Quarterback-wise, the Chiefs have the edge. But other than that, I mean, tight end for tight end, Dallas Goedert versus a Travis Kelce, who's probably – this could be his last game, Defensively, Chiefs, again, they have Chris Jones. He is a game wrecker, as we like to say.
Right, but so when you look at those matchups like that, you have your offensive line against Chris Jones. I feel like if Chris Jones is your best player on defense, that's where I feel the strength of the Eagles is. So your best player, I don't want to say gets neutralized, but I feel like, okay, you have your best players an interior defensive lineman. The Eagles' interior, now, some of those guys banged up. Juergens, is Dickerson going to play? Mekhi Becton. Those three guys there, if they're healthy and they're playing, I feel like that's a spot where, okay, your best player has to go against a strength of Philadelphia. So that's a positive for Philly.
Correct.
On the other side, you got Jalen Carter, and the interior of their line is taking a little bit of a hit.
With the injury of Tooney.
Well, Tooney's got to go play left tackle.
Right.
He's
Yes.
usually a guard.
Right.
And they got to bump him out to left tackle. So now they're weaker at tackle and they're weaker at guard. So the strength of the Eagles' defense, interior, Jalen Carter, okay, I feel like that's a check mark for Philadelphia.
And really quick, Mike, Mahomes only been sacked 2 less times than Jalen Hurts this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's very good at getting the ball out of his hands and all that kind of jazz too. But the line is different from the line that he played with all season long.
Well, it's
Right?
not health. Well, first of all, it hasn't been healthy for part of the year. But the second issue is that they're just not as good as they were a couple of years ago. They've lost guys.
That's what I'm saying. Their offensive line right now is not nearly as good as it was 2 years ago when they
Correct.
played. The line that they had 2 years ago when they played Philly was based on the fact that they got Rochambeau'd in the game against the Bucks
Correct.
the year before, and their offensive line was a disaster in that game, so they went out and beefed up the line. Now you look at the game 2 years later, the Eagles, the Chiefs' offensive line on Sunday night is not as good as the offensive line that started the season for them, which isn't as good as the line they had 2 years ago. So remember, they could not sack Mahomes in that game, and a lot of people think the field conditions may have been an issue. That said, the field will not be a factor in this game.
Turf
Right.
will not be a factor.
The field will not be a factor in this game. So this is where the matchups are. Is the Eagles' defensive front a check mark versus the Kansas City offensive line? What do you say?
I think so. Yes.
Josh?
I would say yes because of Jalen Carter more so than just the Chiefs line.
Say that again?
To me, it's not just the Chiefs O-line. It's also who the other guy on the other side is, Jalen Carter.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got Jalen Carter, and you got the Eagles, you got Nolan Smith. You've got Josh Sweat. You've got Milton Williams up against the Chiefs offensive line. Yes, part of evaluating whether you get a check mark or not is the personnel that you have
Well, the reason
on that side of the ball.
I'm just pointing out Jalen Carter specifically because I know he doesn't have big sack totals, but we know watching the game.
Yeah, but
that
it's not
he
about
has
him
been-
getting sacks. It's about how much attention he will take
That's what I was getting
to
to.
allow Nolan Smith to get to the quarterback or Josh Sweat to get to the quarterback. Milton Williams,
That's been the story all year. Is Nolan Smith's emergence is partly due to Jalen Carter.
Well,
and
let's
double
keep this-
teams and all that.
Let's keep this in mind. The game they played in Arizona, the Eagles had a better pass rusher, right? In Hassan Reddick.
Reddick, yes.
But he was not able to get to Mahomes for whatever reason. So if Reddick couldn't get to Mahomes in that game, should we expect Nolan Smith to be able to get there? That's, I think, is a huge key in this game.
It certainly has to be part of the conversation because of the fact that you did have Fletcher Cox back then, but it was that version of Fletcher Cox,
No,
Mike,
no.
lesser than this version of Jalen Carter.
Yeah, no, I think, no disrespect to Fletcher Cox. I think Fletcher Cox himself would tell you that Jalen Carter is just a different animal than Fletcher was, and Fletcher was, I don't know, is Fletcher Cox going into the Hall of Fame?
No.
I don't think so. And
Nope.
Jalen Carter is just so much younger.
So you're
and
saying, right, so
he's playing every snap.
I think Jalen Carter is probably a bigger disruptor than
Fletcher.
Fletcher.
On every play, too. I mean, Carter is out there every snap
Yeah.
for the defense. Every snap.
To me, so we're starting with this, I want to look at matchups a lot today. By the way, Scott Grayson at 3 o'clock today. He's boots on the ground in New Orleans. He is there right now for 97.3 ESPN. Grayson landed about 2 hours ago in New Orleans. So he's going to give us the immediate updates on all of the stuff that's happening there and let us know some of the storylines that are happening in New Orleans. So he'll join us at 3 o'clock today. When you look at the biggest matchup in this game for me, it starts with the Eagles' defensive front against the Chiefs. Because, like, you can say, look, the Eagles' skill position players are better than the Chiefs, right? I mean, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley, that trio, you would take every single game over Xavier Worthy,
Juju Smith-Schuster,
and Kareem
Pacheco.
Hunt / Pacheco.
You could
DeAndre
throw
Hopkins.
Kelsey in there, too, because he lines up all over the
Kelsey
place.
and Goddard, though, I mean, yeah, you might say you like Kelsey better than Goddard just for his history. But Goddard's no slouch. You know, it's not like it's a tremendous – but that's not the match. Like, yeah, the Eagles' skill position players are better than the Chiefs' skill position players. The Eagles' offensive line is better than the Chiefs' offensive line. But those aren't the matchups. The matchup is the Chiefs' offensive line against the Eagles' defensive front. And to me, that is the most important matchup of this one. Why? Because when they played before, the Eagles had, in my opinion, the more talented team, but they could not get to the quarterback. And that's why that matchup for me is this game. The last game is 38-35 because you couldn't get to Mahomes. You have to be able to get pressure on him. Otherwise, the game's 38-35, and you probably lose that game.
And to me, looking back at that game, since you brought it up, the second half is where things just went down.
I watched the game last night.
Did you?
I did.
Like that. I mean, they were up by 10 going into halftime. Obviously, the halftime is 45 minutes long or whatever it is. Then the second half, they come out. Mahomes, I don't think he got sacked. He obviously didn't turn the ball over, and they wind up winning on that last-second kick.
Yeah,
8 seconds to go.
I watched the game last night, and if you remember, so the big play in the game is obviously the holding call on James Bradbury, right? And if you watch the NFL, I guess it's the NFL Network, or it wasn't like the live broadcast of the game. It was kind of like, I guess they had players mic'd up and stuff.
Oh,
so it was like
okay.
one of those where like Scott Graham narrates it. And they show Sirianni on the sideline. And Sirianni says to the official, that's really a call you're going to make to decide the Super Bowl? Like, really?
I think that's what I said, too.
That was the sentiment at that time. And at that time when that play happens, Jason Kelsey, they're all saying, really? You're calling that penalty?
Yeah.
And Jason Kelsey at that moment, he says, the game's over. We just lost. And if you remember, the play that made that all happen was a third down play. And Patrick Mahomes, if you recall, he had that ankle injury. And he took off and made a huge third down run, to which pretty much sealed the chance for a field goal for them. So I'm looking back at that game, and I'm thinking to myself, man, can that happen again? Where the Eagles get a holding call, they got pressure on Mahomes, but he stepped up through it. And you're thinking to yourself about the personnel. Is Zach Bond better than T.J. Edwards? Is Oren Burks? And
Yes.
that's where I said to myself, Oren Burks, if you go back to last year's Super Bowl, he had a rough day at the office in that Super Bowl last year. They picked on him all game, did they not?
Yeah.
Last year.
Especially on again in that second half where Mahomes, they were down in that game too last year.
As
Last
soon
year.
as the 49ers had injuries at linebacker, Burks came in, they immediately picked on him.
They picked on Burks the whole game last year. I mean, what did Kelsey do in that game last year? He burned them. And I thought to myself, oh, man, that was Oren Burks last year in that game. If you remember, Oren Burks went in the game. The guy from the Niners got hurt, and Burks had to go in the game.
Yeah, Dre Greenlaw.
Greenlaw, that's right. Greenlaw got hurt in the game. Burks went in the game, and they targeted him all night long. So if you're Andy Reid.
Really quick, Kelsey finished for 9 catches, 93 receiving yards.
There you go, 9 catches.
And a nice kiss from Taylor Swift after the game on the field.
There you go. Now, I saw
That's
something
another
on
stat
social
for you.
media that shows Aaron Dolan
Oh.
and says the Eagles have her support and the Chiefs have Taylor Swift support.
Now, a gentleman here at the sportsbook came by. He said, I'm no longer a Chiefs fan because of the
he bailed him.
coverage.
He said he's been a Chiefs fan since Joe Montana.
Wow.
By the way, speaking of Joe Montana, later on tonight at 5 o'clock, a man who caught a touchdown pass from one Joe Montana will join me on the Sports Bash. my man Joe Valerio, former Chiefs local guy. So we'll get his perspective on this Chiefs team, the matchups that he's looking for, and that's tonight at 5 o'clock. You guys remember Cup of Joe. He's on tonight at 5 o'clock here on the Sports Bash. Scott Grayson's got boots on the ground in New Orleans. He's going to join us at 3 o'clock today. Coming up at football at 4, Adam Kaplan. We got a big week for you in New Orleans, starting on Wednesday.
I'm jacked up, man.
You ready?
I cannot wait.
Wow.
I can't wait to get down there. Honestly. I just can't wait to be in the airport, be on the flight down there with Eagles fans, Bourbon Street. I have a feeling Kelly Green and Midnight Green, they're going to take over Bourbon Street.
I think it's going to be a good week. We've already got a lot of great guests set up. But one of the things about the next couple days is who's there? Who can we find? That's why you want to be tuned in all week long to find out. That's why Pete G's going. It's Pete G's job to find
it is?
the guests.
Oh, I thought I was just going down there just to set it up and sit there and people watch.
Well,
no?
we got Nick Earnshaw, we've got Pete G, we've got Scott Grayson, and we're going to be having live football at 4 roundtables every day. Jeff Mosher will be a part of the show, Adam Kaplan, Andrew DeCecco, and the Inside the Birds crew is going to be having some of their guys like Jason Avant, Clay Harbor, Greg Cosell. They're all going to be a part of the show next week live, or this week I should say, live from New Orleans. We leave tomorrow. The show is live on Wednesday. Now, Josh will be filling in tomorrow, and he's got some fun guests checking in throughout the week and on game night. So make sure you keep it locked right here to the Sports Bash for Radio Row coverage. It all starts Wednesday in New Orleans. The Sports Bash is live today at the Fanatics Sportsbook. Go for the big game. Go for the win this Sunday. The big game is here at Ocean Casino Resort. This hour is brought to you by Autumn Lake Healthcare Center, skilled nursing rehab with elite-level care in a warm and vibrant atmosphere. Visit autumnlakehealthcare.com to find a location near you. I'm Mike Gill. We are just getting started on a Sports Bash Monday on 97.3 ESPN. Hey, it's Mike Gill. The Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. NJ.com ranked them as the #2 best restaurant in all of New Jersey. And this just in. It's their Eagles football special. Your table receives free tandoori, spicy chicken wings if the Eagles win for dine-in customers only. Join them for a special lunch buffet, Fridays through Sundays from 11:30 to 3 p.m. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi, my daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, while their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 21st, get fast, reliable 300 megabit Xfinity internet with unlimited data included and an unlimited mobile line for just $30 a month for 1 year. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless plan and auto-pay restored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity internet required. Reduce mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin. Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare.
Wow.
With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
So you need a new car or SUV, but you're upside down in your trade, but you're worried about your down payment, but your credit is less than perfect. Bring your butts to any Matt Blatt Kia today. With over 1,100 new Kias, all with zero down, zero payments until April, or get $10,000 in bonus cash, or 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked Kia EV6 and 9. Buried in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released new all-wheel drive Kia Sportage or Sorento. 1.9% for 60 months. Matt Blatt Kia. With our PA and New Jersey Kia superstores, Abington, Egg Harbor Township, Toms River, or right to your front door.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, $1,389 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 2/4/25. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Never thought this radio stunt would catch on so big.
On 97.3 ESPN.
2:30 Sports Bash this hour is brought to you by Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers, skilled nursing rehab with elite level care. Visit autumnlakehealthcare.com. I'm Mike Gill. So according to Adam Schefter on the McAfee show earlier today, bearing a setback, Kellen Moore will be the next Saints head coach. Not a big surprise. You said, damn it.
Right, because what are the chances, again, that the Eagles have a coordinator, going to another job the next season?
Well, here's the questions, okay? Number one is, I don't think people are like, oh, my God, you can't lose Kellen Moore. But I think people are like, I don't want another new coordinator. It's a weird dynamic. You know what I mean? I don't think people think that Moore did this great job. And I'm one of them. I thought Moore was going to come in and really do a great job. I don't know that I don't know. I mean, he had a historic running game. What do we make of that?
And I've said all season long that the impact that Vic Fangio has had on his new unit is just, you cannot compare that to what Kellen Moore's done. And I'm wondering why there's just such a big difference between the two.
Well,
but again, they did have a historic running game. They could have broken the record. They had a guy go over 2,000 yards.
Yeah, if they didn't have a historic running game, with their passing game, would it have been more impressive? And then you're like, man, they really, you know what I mean? They didn't need the passing game. And you're like, well, did they not need it? It's a weird dynamic here. So for me, the continuity of losing another coordinator and having to bring in another guy. Now the question becomes, okay, I lose Kellen Moore. What do I do here? Do I stay in-house? Does Sirianni go back to calling the plays? Do you bring in...
One name I read was Frank Reich. He's unemployed right now.
Frank Reich's a name that
they do have history
is
together.
Obviously, he's been here. He was with the Colts. Sirianni knows him. Doug Peterson's name came up. He's been fired now twice as a head coach, or is his head coaching days behind him? And does he go back to the coordinator route? Now, Dougie P., wasn't a great play caller here anyway. Remember when they lost Frank Reich, people were all thinking, hey, it was Frank Reich, not Peterson. So I don't know that you go back down that road.
I know the Texans just fired Slowick, right? So he is right
Bobby
now
Slowick, yeah, who
Bobby
was like
Slowick
a big
looking for a job.
he was a big name a couple of years ago. Brian Johnson, by the way, he interviewed for the Houston job, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
He did.
So you had Brian Johnson. Could you bring Brian Johnson back?
No.
I mean, we just had Chip Kelly get hired by the Raiders over the weekend.
You did.
So he's back in the NFL
But
as an
because
OC.
we're into February now, there's a lot of these teams that are putting their staffs together. The Eagles are going to lose their coordinator, you figure the 9th. So if Kellen Moore gets hired, it wouldn't be till the 10th. And now you got to find someone to replace him. There's not going to be a lot of names out there that you can go find. By the way, it's going to be – go ahead.
There's a name you didn't mention, that's being Doug Nussmeier, who's the current quarterback coach. He spent 15 years in college being an offensive coordinator.
Now, who was on with us Friday?
His son is the quarterback of LSU.
That's correct.
Who was on with us? Was it Friday? Was it Adam Kaplan or was it Sal Powell, who said if Kellen Moore gets hired as the head coach in New Orleans that he would probably bring Nussmeier with him?
That was Sal Powell.
That's
Okay.
another thing you have to keep in mind is Kellen Moore could be bringing guys with him down into the Saints.
Right. So this is why it's a weird situation that it's this late, and because the Eagles have gone through, this would be the 4th straight year that you need a coordinator now. That's no easy task. Think about this. The Detroit Lions just lost their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator, and they also lost another coach.
The quarterback coach.
The quarterback coach. All of a sudden, you're going to see the effect of that and what that means for Campbell. Dan Campbell is now going to have to reassemble a staff, and they're going to find out, you can't just put these – when Andy started to lose coaches here in Philadelphia, That's been the problem. One of the big things for Andy and Kansas City guys has been – no one's plucked Steve Spagnuolo from him. No one went after Eric Bieniemy. He didn't have to replace his coordinators in this whole run. Now, Bieniemy finally, he moved on, but then he had Matt Nagy, who got fired by the Bears, so they just brought Nagy
Slid
back.
right in, yeah.
He has had a ton of continuity with this Chiefs staff, and you saw last year when the Eagles had to replace an offensive and defensive coordinator, it took them a year to kind of pick themselves back off the mat from that. So you look at what Detroit's going to have to go through potentially, and now Philadelphia, you're like, okay, Fangio's here, and now you might lose Kellen Moore, so you might have to again replace that offensive coordinator. That's another reason why this game on Sunday is really big, I think, for this team, because you might take a step back on offense next year because you have to find another coordinator. Now, again, do you just say Sirianni's the guy, and is there somebody on the staff here that is the quote-unquote coordinator, but I don't think that's the way to go.
I was going to say, I don't think Lordy and Howie will let Sirianni be play caller ever again.
Yeah, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Don't forget, starting Wednesday, we are live in New Orleans, and you're not going to want to miss our New Orleans shows. We have 3 big shows from the Big Easy. They all start on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday right here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. On Wednesday's show, we're going to be talking to former Eagle linebacker Stephen Tulloch. We're going to be talking to former Falcons wide receiver Harry Douglas, former Falcons general manager Thomas Dimitroff about what makes Howie Roseman so good at his job. Former Packers running back Amon Green, former Cowboys fullback Darryl Johnston will be on the show. All that and more, plus Chris Canty. Why does he hate Nick Sirianni so much? We'll ask him Wednesday right here on the Sports Bash. But when we come back, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City jumps on board on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN, live from the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Super Bowl 59 is on Westwood One.
The Philadelphia Eagles are headed to New Orleans.
Now the Chiefs are on the doorstep of history, going for a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Grant. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Devin McCourty, and me for all the action right here.
Exclusively on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's home of Super Bowl 59.
Hi, I'm Dan Tracy. I'm a workers' compensation attorney. At Goldenberg Mackler, we've handled thousands of workers' compensation claims over the years. Our experienced attorneys understand the law and will fight to get you the benefits that you deserve. When injured at work, make the right call to Goldenberg Mackler. Call us at 609-344-7131. That's 609-344-7131. Or visit us online at gmslaw.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for University Housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The 2025 Hercules Tires MAC Basketball Championships are returning to Atlantic City's iconic Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall for the 6th consecutive year, March 11th through the 15th, featuring 22 men's and women's teams. The tournament is fun for the family, featuring a band jam, Spirit Squad showcase, Kids Day, and mascot game. Don't miss the chance to be a part of the action to see who will cut down the nets and earn a spot in the big dance. Visit maxsports.com/basketball for more information.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
There's a place where you can come as you are, see how it's made, and why we make it. You'll explore roads less traveled, steal a few moments, and slow down the clock. Then just kick back and stay a while. It's time to get away close to home in South Jersey. Head to visitsouthjersey.com to plan your trip today. We'll see you down the road.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated bench for football players. Today, Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning brings that same innovation and reliability to your home or business. Need plumbing repairs or a new gas furnace, boiler, or water heater? Ask about utility loans up to $25,000 at 0% for 7 years and rebates up to $29.50. Call 609-641-6440 or visit jenkinsandsons.com.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Ernest & Son Meat Market in Brigantine is your Eagles' big game headquarters, featuring a box of mouth-watering subs for up to 15 people for $80. The perfect addition for your Eagles party. Ernest & Son Meat Market delivers your big game trays, buffalo wings, meatballs, homemade
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, 2:43 Sports Bash Live. This hour is brought to you by Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers. Visit autumnlakehealthcare.com to find a location near you. Sports Bash Live at Ocean Casino's fabulous Fanatics Sportsbook. It's going to be a Super Sunday here. The big game is at Ocean Casino Resort. How about this place to watch the game on Sunday? My gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, there's probably 40 TVs in here.
And those prop bets, they've already begun.
Is there any money down yet?
Not yet. Doing some research, but, you know, you can
research.
combine all these prop bets, man.
I like this article from Tim McMahon. It says, Eagles general manager Howie Roseman, reflecting on the offseason signing of Saquon Barkley, said he's not surprised by the Stars' back's historic season. No crap.
I guess not.
You know, we've been looking at a lot of the matchups here. I think the Eagles' defensive front against the offensive line of the Chiefs is probably one of the bigger ones. We're going to talk about Howie Roseman and how important he is. Andrew Brandt's going to join us tonight at 5:30. Now, Andrew is a very interesting perspective. He hosts the Business of Sports podcast, and on his podcast this week, he broke down the reasons why Philadelphia and Kansas City are both in this game, and he basically suggested that they are the two best well-run organizations. Now, he's a guy who worked in the Eagles organization. He worked in the Green Bay Packers organization, and he's going to kind of give us some insight on why the stability of the front offices is so big. All right, coming up, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City joins us right now as the Eagles get ready for the Chiefs. And, Mike, I want to just come right out, and the first question I want to get your opinion on is the Chiefs open up a 1.5. That was last week. It has not moved. Are you surprised, like when I say to you, are the Chiefs the better team in this game? Right. I know if the game is close, you kind of feel like Kansas City's in there. Is any part of you, Mike, that thinks that this is a blowout game on either side? Yeah, that's the one thing. I think you said it right, the coach and the quarterback. Other than that, I think you feel like, hey, Philadelphia's got better receivers. You like the running back better. You like the Philly offensive line better. You might even say at this point the tight ends are pretty close. Okay, Kelsey probably gets the check mark there. The defensive side of the ball, I mean, I think you like Philly almost at all three levels better than you like the Chiefs. But it's the coach and quarterback that keep this game close enough. I'm wondering from you, though, where do you think Philly has a big advantage maybe that the Chiefs are going to have to handle? And by the way, do you agree with the assessment that I just broke down? Yeah, you kind of hinted at it earlier, like a fluky play or something kind of weird, where you're almost waiting for Barkley to kind of pick off a long one. And I think something that you said about Steve Spagnuolo, I'm interested to see if, and I'm some amateur defensive coordinator here, but if I'm them, I'm setting pressure up the middle, and I'm trying to get Hurts rolling out, because every time he gets out of that pocket quickly, that play looks like it's over with. So the Chiefs set a lot of pressure up the middle there and try to flush Hurts out immediately.
Yeah, pressuring Hurts in general, I think, is obviously you go into a game, you want to pressure every quarterback, right? But you want to get Hurts out, making a move, and he has a tendency to hold on to the ball, a long time and take some sacks. So that's what you're looking to take advantage for if you're a Kansas City Chief, if you're the Chiefs also. And remember the last Super Bowl, he was running around back there because of defensive pressure. He fumbles the ball, Chiefs recover, turns the game around. I'm sure the Chiefs are going to look to do the same thing this Sunday.
Mike McGarrett for the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com. And, obviously the game last time they have it on right here, right now, it was kind of decided on a holding penalty. James Bradbury the hold, and then Harrison Butker kicks the field goal with 8 seconds left. They win the game there. That game was also marred by a field that was probably not the highest of quality, and you would think that, hey, a penalty or the field conditions, you're hoping that they don't rear, because the field should not be a factor this time, Mike. And that was a factor maybe for both sides last time. The Eagles could not sack Patrick Mahomes in that game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they made a big deal about how the edge rushers couldn't get, their footing, and they were slipping and sliding, so they couldn't sustain their pass rush. Probably goes both ways, too, in that situation. We'll have to see what the officials do. A lot's been made of the Chiefs get every call. Well, I've compared to Mahomes to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan got every call in the 90s, too. That's the way this thing works. When you're a good player and a good team, for whatever the reason is, and I'm not suggesting there's a grand conspiracy here or anything else. I think it's just human nature. When you're the best in the game, you get the breaks. You seem to get the breaks when they come about, and you are able to take advantage of those breaks. Lesser players might get a call in their way, but they're not able to then convert that into a winning field goal or convert that into a touchdown or something like that. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, and I think everybody's going to have their radar up for not only the field, which shouldn't be a problem down in New Orleans, but also the officials. I think they'll be under the microscope on Sunday, and particularly, I can't wait to see X. If there's a controversial call in the Chiefs' favor, I think America might go crazy.
You're right about that, Mike. I want to quickly get your thoughts. There was no football yesterday, but, man, the NBA said we will fill the void with a couple of trades that happened. I know a lot of people not paying attention to the NBA. The Sixers blew a 26-point lead yesterday, but welcome to the sports stratosphere, NBA. Luka Doncic has been traded to the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, if I was going to put on my conspiracy hat here, right, I would say the Lakers always seem to do this. It was Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s, then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Then they somehow got Kobe Bryant. Then they traded for Shaq. Then they got, Paul Gasol comes over in a mysterious deal. The Lakers always seem to get a superstar. And, if you're looking at NBA ratings and you're saying, the NBA ratings are a little down. How can we pump the ratings up? Well, let's give LeBron James the second best player in the NBA on his team. So that's me being Mike the conspiracy guy there. For the life of me, I don't understand why Dallas would trade a 26-year-old guy who is, like I said, the second best player in the NBA in my mind, unless, one, they didn't want to pay him $300 and something million, and two, maybe he's just a pain in the rear end and they wanted to get rid of him. I don't know. But, that trade made absolutely no sense to me, and it sets the Lakers up, the NBA's premier franchise, for the next decade of having, probably player number 1 or 1A in the league.
I said the same thing. I said, the NBA might say, hey, LeBron's getting old. Who's the next face of that franchise? Hey, Dallas, what do you think about helping us out here and sending a man over there? And that's, by the way, pitchers and catchers report on Tuesday. We got that of next week. So Super Bowl Sunday, Phillies report Tuesday. It's a great time for sports here in the Delaware Valley. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City and pressofac.com. All right, Michael, we'll catch up with you, man.
All right, enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you down the road. Thanks.
All right, there's Mike, and, of course, you can hear him here on the Sports Bash this hour, brought to you by Autumn Lake Healthcare Center, skilled nursing rehab with elite-level care and a warm and vibrant atmosphere. Visit autumnlakehealthcare.com to find a location near you. Scott Grayson, he is actually in New Orleans at Radio Row. He's been down there throughout the afternoon. PG, you see that text he sent?
I did see it.
He says,
great location.
He says, I'm on Radio Row right now. What table are we? And I wrote back, I think 150. He says, wow, I think we got a great location. And he sent us a nice picture of the table that we will be located at for the next couple of days.
That little background there we got.
Well, I know right across from us, there's the McAfee Show right there. Right across from us, and ESPN Radio National across from us.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Oubre has it again. This time he fires. It's good. He nailed it. A triple from the right side by Oubre.
It's Sixers Mavericks tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Go get your game on at the Gallery Bar, Book, and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery, go to Fanatic Sportsbook, and go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Are you ready, South Jersey? As the birds soar to the big game, Broadleys is here to keep your home comfort in the game. Don't let a broken heater or leaky pipe ruin your celebration. Call Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning for fast, reliable service you can trust. Just dial 609-390-3907 or visit Broadleys.net. Go Birds and go with Broadleys, your hometown plumbing and heating champs since 1911.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Winter is here. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Kelvy Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Kelvy Electric, the premier electrical contractor, serving South Jersey for over 110 years. Visit KelvyElectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
Madame Giselle senses something big coming.
Is it a career change?
Everything looks wet.
I'm gonna be a swim teacher.
There's a roof.
A swim teacher who also does roofing.
No, the roof of your RV has a leak and it's ruining the furniture.
Oh, that's okay. I'm covered by Progressive. But maybe I'm a swim teaching roofer who makes furniture.
Customize your coverage with Progressive's Roof Protection Plus and be prepared for the unexpected. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Roof Protection Plus available for RVs less than 6 years old. $250 deductible applies to any claim.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN.
Ooh, that's good.
WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, we will be in New Orleans Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The Sports Bash Live on Radio Row. Scott Grayson's already there, and he is at our broadcast location. He's brought to you today by Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and take advantage of game-changing savings all month long at Boardwalk Honda. We are live at the Fanatics Sportsbook in Atlantic City. Now, I do believe there is a casino in there in downtown New Orleans. And, of course, we will be live at the Convention Center all week long. And Scott Grayson, boots on the ground. It looks like you've got a nice setup at a nice spot. He is at table 150, which is where the Sports Bash will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Mic, Scott.
And obviously, Scott, it's early in the week, but is there already a little bit of buzz around the Big Easy?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely people at the airport. You'll see when you get there, a lot of banners, the downtown area so far. I mean, I just landed about 2.5 hours ago, so I'm still exploring. But I did find where we're going to be. I'm telling you, Mike, I think this is about as good a spot as we've had all these years that we've been doing this to really hunt some people down and get them to sit down with us and have a chat. But, yeah, I mean, just walking down here, I think it was the Chiefs that passed me. The police escort, all that stuff. They were going right down the street past me as I was walking down to the convention center. So, man, Super Bowl week's alive and well, and I know it's only going to get busier and busier as the week goes on.
So I want to get your thoughts on, as you said, that this town is, we know early in the week it starts to, by Wednesday it starts to fill up a little bit more, Thursday, Friday. The Chiefs are the favorite in this game, Scott Grayson.
Yeah.
Are you surprised? I know a lot of that is, hey, there's more Chiefs fans and they're the more popular team and they want to try to – but that's when the line gets set. It hasn't moved since the line came out last week. They are still the favorites in that game. When I just say to you, who's better, Philly or Kansas City, how do you break that down?
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot, Mike, over the last week. And I think when you look at these two rosters, I think the Eagles have the better roster. But, when you look at head coach and quarterback, two very important spots, I think you do have to give the edge to the Chiefs. And sometimes that is enough to ultimately win a game. But I was a little surprised when the line came out too, Mike, and that the Chiefs were a little bit of a favorite. I think that comes from being here so much. But I think that is a big difference for this team, the Eagles, to have been here 2 years ago. A lot of players on this team went through all of this hoopla. And I think at times Jalen Hurts was getting irritated with how many times he had to meet with the media. Nick Sirianni, was just soaking it all in. And at times I think a little taken aback by everything that happened. And other players as well. That's not a surprise here. I've already seen the way the guys have carried themselves back in Philly. They understand what's going to face them this week, including the clown show that will be tonight at opening night. But that's really the eye-opening part of it. You get going here tonight with all of that, and I think by the time this week comes out, right, when the Eagles have solidified that Cam Jurgens is going to start at center and Landon Dickerson at left guard, and Brandon Graham might potentially be playing, I will not be surprised to see it all. And I'm not the betting expert at all. I know we'll talk to plenty of them this week. That late money coming in at the end of the week could potentially push this to a pick 'em or potentially the other way slightly.
I want to get your take. Obviously we were in Arizona with the Eagles when they lost that game. and Jalen Hurts. I watched the game last night, and, watching him on the sideline, just standing there all by himself and some of the things that he has said, what do you think his role in this particular game might be this time? Because obviously he said all the right things. It doesn't matter if it's me. It doesn't need to be me. He was the best player on the field in that game by many people's accounts, but they haven't needed him in that role. Do they need him in that role this game?
I don't think they do, and two reasons why. If you look back at that game, he had no running backs to really help carry the ball. He did it himself. He's got Saquon Barkley this year. I think also you look at this defense, and remember that field was awful. It really diminished the kind of pass rush the Eagles had. 70 sacks that year, and they didn't even get, I don't think, one in that game. That just tells you how, the guys on the edge couldn't plant their foot and go. That won't be the case this year. And this defense is even better, I believe, than that one was. And I think because of all of that, I don't think Jalen has to do it himself. And I think it'd be bad for him to try to do it himself. I think the biggest question is how many passes will he throw in this game? I mean, he hasn't thrown more than like 25 passes in most of the games throughout since that bye week. They just kind of really realized that Saquon Barkley was the workhorse. It's going to be interesting to see that chess match that develops in the first half of this game and then the adjustments that are potentially made at halftime.
Yeah, and you take a look at, Saquon Barkley, and obviously he's had a tremendous run. Do you think the Chiefs go all out to try to stop him? I mean, do they try to invite A.J., knowing that Hurts played so well against them 2 years ago?
I think the biggest question is how do you try to stop him? Because if you load up the line and the Eagles get a good block, you saw it in the first play last year. They sealed the edge and blocked three guys with Jordan Mailata and A.J. Brown in the middle of all that, and it just sprung. You don't have many guys left in the second level of your defense to tackle him. So are the Chiefs going to say, hey, we're willing to give you that 3, 4, 5 yards, but you are not breaking home runs against us. You will have to go all the way down the field. I'm curious about that. We also know that Spagnuolo loves to blitz, and he loves to bring it from anywhere. So if the Eagles get into some passing situations, where will that blitz come from? How will the Eagles handle that? Saquon's been really good at picking up the blitz. I think at times this year that's been overlooked, how much he has meant in that role, especially last week against the Commanders when they were throwing the ball a little more. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I think if you load up that line with too many bodies and they all start running into each other, all he needs is one hole and he's gone. And I don't know that you want to take that risk.
Scott Grayson from Grayson's Grades at 97.3 ESPN.com, Fox 29. He is in New Orleans and will be a part of our coverage all week long from the Convention Center in New Orleans, and he is down there right now. How prepared is this Eagles team as opposed to the last time? What have they learned from 2 years ago? Do they feel more prepared for this year's Super Bowl than the one 2 years ago where they just kind of, hey, we're at the Super Bowl after they finished 9-7 the year before?
I think to me that is one of the most fascinating things I'm looking to get a barometer on and get a reading on tonight at opening night. When we were in Minneapolis, one of the things I took away, and I kept talking to you about as we came back to Radio Row from being around the players, they were loose, and they were loose in a good way, and they were enjoying the experience. 2 years ago, they were loose, but I didn't quite feel like there was, like I said, Jalen was a little bit more, I got the sense, irritated as the week went on with having to sit in front of the media so much. And I really do think that this time around they know what to expect. And I expect that to be a bit of a difference maker for them. The veterans on this team, the Cooper DeJeans and Quinyon Mitchells, I'll be interested to see what they look like tonight. Deer in headlights, I have no idea. But that could potentially be the case. And you just look as the week goes on and just seeing them kind of getting into this position, I think this is going to be a much more focused and ready to go team. Sirianni, I thought one of the most important things that he talked about last week, Mike, was how they got back from Arizona and he and the coaches sat around and they went, all right, what did we like that we did? What do we need to do better when we get back again at some point? To me, I think that was very valuable for them. And he looked back at those notes. It was a different coaching staff, but all the lessons learned were still down there. And I'll be curious to see if they do win this Super Bowl, how much that may have played a role in helping them do that.
Scott Grayson, now you mentioned it was a different coaching staff. It looks like you're going to have another new coaching staff, at least the offensive coordinator. What's the impact of that in this game that was a story last time. John Gannon being distracted and all that jazz. I say jazz, you're going to New Orleans, pardon the pun. But does that even cross your mind with Kellen Moore? And then the thought of having to replace Kellen Moore.
The parallels are there, right? Because it was at the Cardinals facility is where the team was working out, and Gannon was being courted by the Cardinals. The Eagles are at the Saints facility this week, and he's being courted by the Saints. I think some of what happened last time with Gannon was done undercover and sort of hidden, and I think it was done potentially later in the week. I think the Saints have done it right. They got to him early. They got to him early this week even. I believe, and I don't expect them to bother him the rest of the week. And as far as Kellen Moore goes, I think some of it comes down to the person, too. Look, you're this close to winning a ring, and I just don't see how you get distracted from that, especially because I think one of the things the Eagles learned, if I'm piecing pieces together, right, putting clues together, they had most of the game plan installed before they even came down here. So that means the offensive plan should be pretty much in place, and they're fine-tuning it this week. I just don't think Kellen Moore is going to be distracted by all that with an opportunity to finally be here and have a shot at winning a ring. And look, I mean, the Saints are going to be a work in progress for a couple of years. If he takes that job, he has to know it's going to take him a good few years to get that program and that team righted. And so I think that's something that's obviously going to take a lot of work. He isn't going to fix it this week, and he is focused. I expect him to be focused on what the Eagles need to do offensively to win this game.
One big area, talking with Scott Grayson from Fox 29, Grayson's Grades. He's in New Orleans right now. One area in the last game, you mentioned it, they did not get a sack in the game. Now, the field was a disaster, shouldn't be a problem in New Orleans. How do you look at the matchup between the Eagles' defensive front and this Chiefs' offensive line, which has some injury issues? They're moving Tooney from guard out to tackle, but they couldn't get to Mahomes last time.
Yeah, I've been saying it all along. If the Eagles are going to win this Super Bowl, I think a large part of the reason why is this defense. I just think that, Mahomes doesn't have quite as many weapons as he did 2 years ago. They're a little older, and this Eagles defense is just, it's reloaded. And it's loaded with some younger talent. It's younger, it's quicker. Jalen Carter is a game wrecker. He has been, he's proven it throughout these playoffs. Nolan Smith has come into these playoffs and leads the team in sacks this postseason. And again, we talked about the footing. I mean, I'm going to be there tonight. Opening night is on the field at the Caesars Superdome, and I'm looking forward to experiencing that and seeing what that's like as well. So I just think this defense is going to be the reason why the Eagles will win this game, because you're going to have to hold the Chiefs to probably 24 or less. And they have been held to less than 30 every game except the last one they just played. So I think the ingredients are there for this team to win, and the defense has to do its part, and the offense just frankly can't turn it over.
Right. Well, listen, they had the big turnover in the game 2 years ago, and that was probably the biggest blemish on Jalen Hurts that night was that fumble. It was the penalty on Isaac Seumalo, who's not here anymore, and then the snap that got fumbled by Jalen Hurts, and that cost them. They were up 10 at that point, and it was a chance to go upset, and put the game away, and instead they recover that fumble, score, and then the whole game kind of takes a different turn here. But this Eagles team has done a really good job of forcing turnovers, something that's tough to do against Kansas City. You can't rely on getting turnovers in this game.
No, that's why I think the biggest thing for this team is to limit the amount of times the Chiefs get into the end zone. If you can hold them to 3 points, and we all know Andy will take the 3 when given the opportunity, because he prefers to get points instead of taking too many risks. But you've got to have them in 4th and long enough that he will kick that field goal. And that's where I think this defense needs to look at this and just say, hey, let the turnovers come to you if they come. I mean, one of the most impressive things that they've done, Mike, is punch the ball out, force fumbles from receivers, running backs, not necessarily rely on a strip sack, and we all know Mahomes will do some crazy things, but one thing he will do is try to protect that ball as best he can. And I just think that they can't rely on the turnovers, no, but I think this defense is built to be able to, I'll be curious to see who they try to put on Travis Kelce. That's going to be interesting to watch as well. But, hey, look, I think they had a good game plan. I love that they were using Brent Selleck back in Philly as a big physical tight end to simulate that for the guys. And I just feel like they're going to be better prepared this time around for all of it, including that long halftime. Lane Johnson talked about that. He said they really didn't work on adjustments at halftime last time. They had a lead. I think they kind of relaxed a little bit. They know they can't do that this time around. Another lesson that perhaps was learned 2 years ago.
Well, and this year, I think one of the big stories is Jalen Carter and the role that he has, and then the interior of that Chiefs line. Joe Thuney has to move from guard to play tackle. Do the Chiefs have an answer, and could this be Jalen Carter's kind of coming out moment? I know a lot of people have said he's had a great year, he's this, he's that. Fletcher Cox has said he's better than me, but to prove it, you do it on this stage.
Oh, there's no doubt. And we know he's going to be double teamed, maybe even triple teamed. But that's where I think he's learned that by doing that, he makes guys around him better. And he still fights through them. And he's shown that he is so tough and he can endure and play almost every snap of the game. That's where, we talk a lot about the offensive line wearing guys down on the defensive line and how that helps in the second half, seems to allow them to open bigger holes and Saquon breaks one. Well, I think some of that is true for Jalen Carter. I think he wears down the guys that have to deal with him the first half, that in the second half, and a longer halftime is going to help a guy like him to recoup some of that energy and be ready to go. Man, I mean, he can wear through two guys and get to the quarterback and force Mahomes to maybe throw one up for grabs, right? He will do that. So, I think Jalen Carter is going to be a big key to what happens for this defense.
Yeah, he's a big key. And you think about it, he's a young kid. What about the other young kids? I want to get your thoughts on their role in this game, because when you look at the Chiefs, I don't think you're blown away by their skill talent. You've got Xavier Worthy, a guy who can run. The rest of their receiving core, Hopkins and Schuster, I mean, not a burner, not an alpha guy against Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. The role of the young players in this game.
Quinyon Mitchell has shut down a lot of good receivers this year. He has really limited what they can do. So I don't see him going up and lining up in this game and feeling like he hasn't faced something like this before. So I expect Quinyon Mitchell to play a great game. He's only gotten better as the season's gone on. Cooper DeJean has gotten more comfortable. And Darius Slay has told me, a lot of people, these guys aren't rookies anymore. They've played so much, they're not rookies anymore. Look, this is game 21. That's where we're at for the Eagles this season. Now, Cooper DeJean came in after the bye, so this is game 16 for him, but that's still what was a full NFL season in the past. These guys aren't rookies anymore, and I just expect them to play well. And what they've done really well is batted balls down, and when they're there, I mean, Quinyon Mitchell got a great pick last week against Washington. He seemed to be able to get his hands on the ball and not be able to come down with the pick earlier in the season. He's kind of solved that problem. It's going to be fascinating. And again, Mike, that's where I think tonight begins, where I look at those guys. I look in their eyes tonight at opening night, and I'm going to find them tonight. That's one of the things I want to do, is talk to those guys about the experience so far, what it looks like to them, how they feel about it, and how focused they are to be this close to potentially win a ring. I think it's going to be interesting.
And that's the interesting part. Like, you'll get a chance to see those guys in this environment tonight and kind of get a read on, those guys look like a kid in the candy store. They look overwhelmed by the moment, because this first night can eat up a lot of these young guys.
It's crazy, right? It is a clown show. I was sitting on the plane with one of the other people from the media, and we were talking about, that's what we called it tonight. It's a clown show. You're going to get the guys from the Tonight Show, the Daily Show, all those other places. International media is walking around and from Germany and all over the place. And they're doing their thing. And they're all got their little shticks. They've got their fun things they do. Some of it catches these players off guard. Some of them like it. Some of them hate it. Some of them just want to talk X's and O's in football. But they're required to be there for a full hour, and they can't leave. So, you're stuck with it. And I think that's what they've got to understand, is just make the most of it tonight. Enjoy it. It's because the rest of the week won't be this crazy. But they will be available to all the media, every single player throughout the week. And that's different for them as well. But, yeah, looking at them tonight is going to be interesting.
I want to give you an assignment,
all
if
right,
you can. Oren Burks played in this game last year and had a rough night at the office. They went after him in that game. What did he learn from that night, and how can he take what he learns and put it into this game? Because I imagine that Andy Reid is going to be looking for Burks and trying to find Kelsey and get him lined up on him. He had 9 catches against him last year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to see. But looking at some of the video of what the Eagles did, remember I told you they were using Brent Selleck, and I saw some practice video. Now, there wasn't a lot of it, but Brent Selleck's a big tight end. The Eagles seem to have 2 guys, a corner, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a safety, was on him, as well as somebody else at times. And I think they're going to try to make sure Kelsey doesn't beat them. And I think that's a great way to go, because if you can limit Kelsey, who else on that offense is going? Mahomes has to get it to somebody. He can't do it himself. I don't think Pacheco is going to be able to run forever against this defense. The defense has done pretty well against the run all season. So, is it Xavier Worthy? Is that what, you're almost forcing them to go that way if you can limit some of what Kelsey can do. So, again, the chess match is so fascinating, and I know we love that, right? And with the extended halftime, you have plenty of time as a coach to sort of, make adjustments, like big adjustments, more than you would normally make in a regular halftime. So it'll be interesting to watch how all that goes down. But, yes, I will try to find Oren Burks tonight and see what he's learned from that earlier time.
Hey, I tell you, people forget he played in this game last year, so he does have experience in playing in the game. Unfortunately, he did not play very well in the game, and he has played well. Although last week Zach Ertz had a big day. The tight end has had some big games recently. But, if you say, Kelsey, you're the guy that's going to get your catches and yards, and you shut down everybody else, is that a recipe for success? I guess we'll see.
Right. Look, Vic Fangio has done a masterful job with this defense all season. I would imagine he has some unseen wrinkles ready to go with the extra week to prepare that perhaps he can throw at the Chiefs, ways that they're going to cover or roll coverage to Kelsey and mix it up so they can't see where it's coming from. I mean, this is going to be fun to watch what Vic Fangio does here. Because he's got the defense he wants. He's got the pieces he wants. He might even be getting Brandon Graham back for third and long pass rushing situations. Who knows?
Yep.
I mean,
would you be surprised if he doesn't play at this point?
At this point, reading his body language after all the years of covering him, yes, I would be shocked if he doesn't get out there in some role. But again, I expect that role to be maybe 3rd and 5 or longer, where they can just let him go and rush the passer. And let him be effective in that role, and let Nolan Smith keep doing what he was doing, because you got to give that guy credit. He has really stepped up this postseason.
Scott Grayson is in New Orleans and will be there all week long covering the Eagles. He will be at the Eagles availability every day, and we'll have reports from him Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday throughout the Sports Bash. And, of course, you can listen right here on 97.3 ESPN. Make sure you download the free mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City, or subscribe to the YouTube channel at Mike Gill Show, on X at Mike Gill Show. We will be live video streaming the entire time. Now, what do you got behind you there? I see a big board. Who's behind you over there?
Well, this is I know we got ESPN over here. That's where the McAfee show is.
That looks like the McAfee show there.
Yeah,
now, McAfee has me blocked on Twitter. You know that, right?
Why would you do that? What did you do?
I don't know why. I have no idea why.
We'll have to find him.
You've got to talk. I know you know McAfee, so you've got to talk and ask. Yeah,
I got to get you out of Twitter jail.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why he's got me blocked. Although there's no more blocking people on Twitter, so I can actually see his tweets now.
Right. Oh, there you go. But yeah. So then we've got. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff over here. CBS is down that way, and we're gonna have. I'm trying to figure out who this is behind us, but it's a pretty good setup. So, like I said, I think we're in our.
Right behind you should be ESPN, then ESPN Radio, and then
they're down that way. Yeah. ESPN Radio is the next one down from McAfee, and then CBS Sports is over there. FanDuel down there is way down there. But this place is massive, Mike, compared to other places we've been. You know, you can see Radio Row just goes on and on. I will warn you, when you go to pick up your credential tomorrow, you are going to get some steps in, if you will.
Is it worse than last year?
Last year.
Vegas.
Yes, I would say it is a longer walk.
Oh, wow. That was brutal last year.
Yeah.
From the Luxor to MGM, I mean, we had like a 15-minute walk.
Yeah, this one's about 15 minutes or so to get from the hotel to pick up the credential. Once you have the credential, though, the entrance to get in here every day is going to be closer by about 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well,
you can do it. And it's in the 70s out here. It's beautiful.
I was going to say, are you wearing shorts or are you in long
I got
pants?
a polo shirt on and some jeans, because you never know how cold it's going to get in these places. But outside, it's beautiful. Beautiful. I was breaking a sweat going to get all the stuff I needed to get in here. But we got a great spot.
we're looking forward to it, and we'll see you tomorrow, Scott Grayson, and we'll be having live reports with Scott all week long. He'll be a part of our coverage, and he will be covering the Eagles. He will be at Eagles practice all week long, so we'll get live reports from there as well on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Scott, we'll see you tomorrow, man.
I'll try to hunt down McAfee and find out why he put you in prison.
Thank you. See if he'll come on the show, all right? This hour of the show, as always, brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing service, and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907 online, broadlees.net. All right. Now, why would McAfee ban me, block me?
You must have said something that pissed him off.
Well, even if I did, okay? Even if I did, how would he know? He's not following me.
He's not following you, but he's got guys, I'm sure.
Yeah?
Sir.
Well, we'll try to get McAfee on the show. See if he'll answer the questions. Why you block me? I'm a WVU Paisan. Friend of the show.
Aren't we all?
All right, coming up here on the Sports Bash, 5 o'clock tonight, Joe Valerio, former Chief, will give us some insight on the Chiefs and what is the biggest matchup for him, in his opinion, and why have all these Chiefs games been so close this year? Joe V, 5 o'clock, Cup of Joe, here on the Sports Bash, live, 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Are you ready, South Jersey? As the birds soar to the big game, Broadlee's is here to keep your home comfort in the game. Don't let a broken heater or leaky pipe ruin your celebration. Call Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning for fast, reliable service you can trust. Just dial 609-390-3907 or visit Broadlees.net. Go Birds and go with Broadlee's, your hometown plumbing and heating champs since 1911.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
It's universal.
Can I get a root canal instead?
People strongly dislike the process of moving.
Please, anything but moving.
Because let's face it, it's hard. But if you've got to do it, make it as painless as possible. Moving is a breeze with Clark's Moving and Storage. Use Clark's Moving and Storage for your next local or long-distance move. Visit Clark's Moving and Storage online at clarksmoving.net.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Winter is here. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Kelvy Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor, serving South Jersey for over 110 years. Visit calvielectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code QUICK to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for
Ernest & Son Meat Market in Brigantine is your Eagles big game headquarters, featuring a box of mouth-watering subs for up to 15 people for $80. The perfect addition for your Eagles party. Ernest & Son Meat Market delivers your big game trays, buffalo wings, meatballs, homemade sausage, and subs. Ernest & Son Meat Market is open 7 days a week from 9 to 4. Order early and call now, 266-1588. Ernest & Son Meat Market, for your Eagles big game catering, delivery, or pickup. Go Birds!
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And it just keeps getting better.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
3:31 Sports Bash live at the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort. Go for the big game here this Sunday. Super Bowl 59. We'll be live, of course, right here at the Fanatics Sportsbook. I'm Mike Gill. 609-403-0973. ESPN's Sham Charania on the Pat McAfee show earlier this morning said the Warriors are legitimately calling about every single all-star player. That includes Paul George, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. What are the chances the Sixers move Paul George before the trade deadline?
If there ever was a chance to get out of that contract, now's the time.
You take it.
I mean,
so let me ask you.
Could you go PG to Golden State, Jimmy Butler to Philly, and Miami gets picks and whatever assets? Would that work for everyone?
Yeah, Josh will pull up the trade machine. But here's my question. Are you more willing to just dump this and bail out of this season? Or if I told you, I'm going to guarantee you that Embiid, Paul George, Maxey, and Caleb, everybody, they are all healthy for the playoffs. Do you bail,
if you're telling
or do
me
you take that shot?
I'm going to take the shot if I know that they're going to be all healthy. But I think the likelihood of that happening is just not likely.
Now, they all practice today. Apparently, they are supposed to play tomorrow. Paul George has something tendon torn in his pinky finger. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right?
No, I mean, to me, the likelihood is more on the side of them getting a top pick than it is to make the play-in game, win the play-in round, then have to face a Boston or a Cleveland in the first round of the NBA playoffs. It's just not going to happen.
So
I have no confidence.
You don't think if the Sixers now last night they have half a team.
Right.
And they're up by 26 on Boston. Now, remember, they've already beaten Boston at Boston with the full team. On Christmas Day, Joel Embiid and Paul George all played, and the Sixers went to Boston and won that game.
And Cleveland, Cleveland only
and the
has,
Sixers beat Cleveland.
They only have 9 losses on the year, and the Sixers, they're one of the losses that Cleveland has.
Yep, and that was a shorthanded Sixers team.
Right.
So if I told you the Sixers were healthy, full roster, would you take the shot or just bail on this whole thing and move on from Paul George?
Yeah, healthy-wise, sure, you want to take the shot. But that Paul George contract really does not look good right now.
All right, so I figured it out, guys.
I'm sure there's a way that it could work.
Yeah, so I'm going to put it up on the screen for everybody watching on Mike Gill's YouTube and Instagram so you guys can see it. Hang on a sec. I just figured it out.
All right. So got a couple text messages here. 609-403-0973. Trade Paul George, please. That's from Matt in Delaware.
Yeah, PG's a nice guy, right? He's
I don't know. I've only seen him 30 times.
It's true.
He's
a good player. He's a good two-way player. He still has a nice shot, nice smooth shot, but it's just not working out right now, Kurt.
His numbers this year compared to last year, you ready?
Yeah.
He's averaging 17 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 4.7 assists this year. Last year, he averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. He played in 74 games, though, last year.
That's who we thought we were getting.
It's unbelievable. You come here, and you just get hurt.
So the way the deal would work, guys, so if you want to send Paul George to Golden State, Jimmy Butler come to Philadelphia, the Warriors have to send Wiggins, Buddy Hield, and Kyle Anderson all to Miami in order to make the money work.
To make the money work, but they need the picks. They need the assets.
Well, you don't have to factor in picks for the money part.
Of course, but I think you would if you're
Yeah,
Philly.
because they're not. Miami's not
picks.
making the trade to get Buddy Hield and Wiggins and those guys.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine the one problem is Wiggins has 3 years on his deal. Buddy Hield is 4.
4 years, yeah.
They signed him to a 4-year deal?
Yep. 4 years, 32-point-something million.
Jeez. And Anderson has 3. My thought on that would be Pat Riley don't want guys with years on their deal. So you got to find 3 guys or somebody –
or a fourth team.
You've got to find somebody with players who don't have years on the contracts. They're going to want to get rid of the contracts.
Well, they got Dennis Schroeder's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, like a Schroeder. What about Kuminga?
Kuminga.
Right. It doesn't have to be a Jimmy Butler trade. You
Kuminga's
could
got
just
2 years
do
left.
straight up for Kuminga and other.
Well, you got to make the money work. But my point is,
Right.
in making the money work, they don't want players who have multiple years left on their deals and get stuck with mediocre. Like if you're the Miami Heat, they probably want draft picks or players that, I don't know, do they look at Wiggins and think that, hey, if Andrew Wiggins comes here, remember Wiggins was at one point the number 1 pick in the draft.
To me, the point is this team currently constructed is just not clicking enough. They're not good enough.
That's the thing.
do what they wanna do.
So listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this season has been so frustrating. But they did just win 4 in a row. They have shown some signs of okay, we're starting to learn each other a little bit better. Like we have some idea of our roles because we're in these roles now every night as opposed to, hey, one night I'm doing this, the other night I'm doing that. But now you're going to get Embiid and Paul George back, and that's going to change. Like for instance, Ricky Council and this Justin Edwards, they're 2 pieces that you didn't know anything about, and now all of a sudden you found that these guys can help you. And Yabusele has been a breath of fresh air. So you've got a couple pieces. That's what's the frustrating part. And it's okay.
Well, they have to make a decision on him, on Yabusele.
Right.
He's on a 1-year deal. Do you flip him at the deadline for assets if you're not going to do anything?
You almost have to, only because they can't really – I think the rule is because of the deal that they signed him to next year when he gets when he's a free agent, the Sixers can't even give him $3 million. So it's almost like he's not going to be able to come back. But, man, they got a steal in that kid.
I mean, it all comes down to Joel Embiid. I mean, if he's going to come back, he's going to come back for a week, and then his knee sores up again, and then he's going to be out for another 2 weeks.
And by the way, Gershon Yabusele is exactly the type of player this team has lacked. A guy with passion and hustle and desire. What's that?
He's a grinder.
He does everything this team has always lacked. He hustles his ass off. He gets the loose balls. He gets offensive rebounds. He's the guy that tips the ball out and gets a possession going.
Yep.
He is exactly
And he
what
finishes.
this team.
He's a great finisher around the rim.
The dunk he had last night. I mean, he is just a breath of fresh air fun. And it's a shame they're wasting it on this team right now because he would be a great piece for this team if they were actually half decent. And it's so frustrating. Tim in Summers Point. Mike, get Paul George and Joel Embiid out. I know you can't trade Joel, but you have to burn this thing down. We're banging our head against the wall doing the same thing over and over. Get them out. Yeah, you can't trade Joel, so you can't do what Dallas just did.
I mean, Dallas did the thing that the Sixers could have done last year before signing him to that crazy contract.
Okay, but knowing that you can't trade Joel, do you just say, if I can't trade him, then I got to take my shots with him?
I mean, to me, I know he can't be traded yet, but if Anthony Davis is still, getting traded for a guy like Doncic, I mean, Embiid still has trade value, obviously. I mean, you can still get something in return for Joel Embiid.
Maybe. I mean, if he's not playing this year because of that knee, you think somebody else is going to – I mean, at least Luka Doncic is 25 years old.
Right.
You know?
Doncic is young, and he's still got a future ahead of him. He doesn't have the mileage on him.
Yeah, Embiid is now on the wrong side of 30, and he's displayed over his entire career that you can't count on him. And then this year, he's displayed you can count on him even less. I mean, just think about that. You can count on him less.
I got a 4-team trade for you here, Mike. Got a 4-teamer.
Post it up on the screen.
Yeah, so you got
the
George,
Wizards involved now.
Got the Wizards involved. Well, got to dump the money somewhere. So Duncan Robinson's $19.4 million. Got that out the door. You got 2 of the 3 players going to Miami are all expiring contracts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, sure, you could find teams that make it work, no question. If you're Washington, you're getting nothing in this deal. You're just saying basically use and abuse us here. They're taking a contract for 3 years. Not that it's that big of a deal. Yeah, I mean, sure, it could work. I mean, there's already been conversation that, hey, should the Sixers – one of the interesting
well, remember, Mike,
here,
Bobby Marks told you on Friday that he would make a Butler for Paul George deal if Miami was willing to make it.
Yes, he did. But here's one of the conundrums here. The Sixers apparently have promised Paul George that they wouldn't trade him.
I did read that. I heard that.
So they've already got enough PR problems at this point. Do they go down that road and then tell a player that they signed in free agency, we won't trade you, and then go ahead and trade him?
Well, to that point, the Bob Myers thing is interesting, where Josh Harris hired Bob Myers to work with the Commanders and all that stuff. So they have a relationship.
Yep.
Could we see Bob Myers get hired to the Sixers maybe as a consultant at first, and then you clean house after this season, or maybe middle of next season or something like that?
Can you see a scenario where Bob Myers replaces Daryl Morey?
Yes. Can you?
You seem pretty confident.
I certainly can.
Can I? I don't know. What Bob Myers, I liked him during the ESPN broadcast, by the way. Is he done? I don't see him anymore. Is he off?
I think he's still on there.
They still work him in for here and there.
Look, listen, Daryl Morey's done a good job.
I'm not anti-Morey. I'm not saying, but if you already have a guy within the Harris Blitzer,
Yes, that's the whole point of it all.
I tweeted this last night. And see what you guys say. I tweeted or posted. What do you say nowadays? Do we all agree the Sixers season has been miserable and will also end up being the one they finally get out of the second round?
I can't see that happening.
I mean, wouldn't it be apropos that we hate this team so much, and then all the other ones we've loved and was like, this is the year, and this team we hate so much, we just hate the face of every news story surrounding this team, and then this is the one that you have to love. The one that you want to hate will be the one that they make you love.
What's the likelihood of them getting their bleep together and making this thing work in the next 2 months?
Well, I agree. It doesn't seem likely at all. But that's the whole point is it's the most improbable thought because this team has been such a disaster. But if I told you Joel Embiid, Paul George, Maxey, Caleb Martin, and they were all playing the rest of the season, I mean, they put the stat up on the screen last night. They played 10 games together. They're 7-3. They have the best rating. I mean, best offensive rating in the league when those guys. I mean, if those guys play, they're going to be good.
I mean, I want to see how Maxey's game changes.
By the way, Maxey
with those guys in the
has
lineup.
been tremendous.
Tremendous in this stretch.
During this stretch.
Yeah.
He has really elevated his game, but, he's gotten some help from some guys like Ricky Council gives him something they just hadn't had, like an athlete, a guy who can just run up and down the floor and has some speed and some athleticism. And this Justin Edwards has been an unbelievable find for them. He's a two-way player. He defends. I mean, those are two athletes they didn't have playing for them early in the season, and now they're starting to get – I mean, like I said, I don't know. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Now, they play a back-to-back tomorrow and on Wednesday. They play tonight, Dallas tomorrow, so – I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to play in that game or not. And then they play the Heat on Wednesday, and then they play Detroit on Friday. The trade deadline's Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, once these trade requests go public, the Luka thing was under wraps. If that thing goes public, Luka can pretty much decide where he wants to go.
It's unbelievable that in this
Jimmy
day and
Butler,
the age.
he rejected Golden State, right? He will not sign an extension with them. Kind of wants to go to Phoenix. Miami's kind of hamstrung. They only got one team to work with.
Well, Butler has said he will not sign an extension with Golden State.
Correct.
I wonder why that is.
Well, he said previously that he wants to go to either Phoenix or Houston.
There you go. And De'Aaron Fox, he was another one. Once these trade requests go public, it's really tough for these teams to negotiate a good deal.
High Tech Mike says, after last year, how did we not foresee this? It's a ruse. Everyone will be fine come April and May. Sixers just have to play 500 ball to stay around the 7th seed. We will be fine. That's the most positive Sixer fan I've heard all season long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what gives him any indication that that's possible.
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, the East is so bad. Right now, the Sixers.
We've been saying that since November, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're only a game out of the 10 spot. They're a game out of the 10. They're 2 out of the 9. They're 4 out of the 8.
They're going to have to play better than 500 ball, though. They're going to have to play above 500.
They're 5 behind Miami right now for the 6. Can they get to the 6?
They're going to have to go on a run, a tear. You can't just play 500 ball.
And by the way, if they got to the 6, it'd be another Knicks-Sixer first-round matchup.
Can't wait for that.
Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Live video streaming on the X platform, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Mike Gill Show and on X at Mike Gill Show so you can watch our interviews from Radio Row this week in New Orleans. You never know who you're going to see jump onto the screen with us live in New Orleans. We will be there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, this hour of the Sports Bash from the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. It's brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. 609-390-3907, online, broadlees.net. Coming up, 4 o'clock hour, football at 4. Adam Kaplan has the latest on the matchups that you need to pay attention to for the Eagles and the Chiefs. That's next here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Oubre has it again. This time he fires. It's good. He nailed it. A triple from the right side by Oubre.
It's Sixers Mavericks tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, AI, how many touchdowns did the Eagles score in the 2023 season?
The Eagles scored 49 touchdowns in the 2023 season.
Hey, AI, I had a fall recently. I need to recover. Please help me walk again.
I'm sorry, but that is beyond my capabilities.
Hey, AI, my parents are getting older and I can't care for them by myself. Can you help me care for them?
I'm sorry, that is beyond my capabilities. AI will never replace care, but here's what I found for the best care near you.
Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers, trusted leaders in skilled nursing rehabilitation and senior care, and proud partners of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for University Housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Nesselthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and
of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, 3:53, live at the Fanatics Sportsbook. You watch the Royal Rumble there, Peachy?
I saw bits and pieces of it, yeah.
You have Peacock?
Yeah.
Who won?
Main event, Jey Uso.
I heard Seth Rollins is going to be at Radio Row.
I would love to get that guy.
He was there a couple of years ago, all dressed up.
Yeah.
With the drip.
I would love to get that guy on.
I think we could get him. You'll see him walking around.
We'll get him.
Now, I haven't watched the WWE in some time now. I'm not a hater by any stretch, but I know that him and CM Punk had a little rift.
I think they're going to hate each other for the rest of
Is
their
that
lives.
a real-life rift?
I believe so, it is, yeah.
So if I saw him, I shouldn't say, hey, man, I know
Phil? Yeah.
What night was that on? Saturday? They picked a great night, no football.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, bang, throw it right in there.
Hey, man, we were talking about this last week. Finish the story. The Eagles got to finish the story, much like Cody Rhodes did at the Link.
Yes, right.
At WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, and
there
what would a second Super Bowl mean for the Philadelphia Eagles? Howie Roseman, the first Super Bowl for Nick Sirianni. What would a Super Bowl mean for Jalen Hurts? You know, if Jalen Hurts wins this Super Bowl, his numbers and his win-loss numbers and his Super Bowl numbers wouldn't look all that much different from Patrick Mahomes, believe it or not. Football at 4 is on the other side. Adam Kaplan from the Inside the Birds podcast joins us next for Football at 4 on the Sports Bash.
Super Bowl 59 is on Westwood One.
The Philadelphia Eagles are headed to New Orleans.
Now the Chiefs are on the doorstep of history, going for a third consecutive Super Bowl.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Graham. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Devin McCourty, and me for all the action right here.
Exclusively on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's home of Super Bowl 59.
Are you ready, South Jersey? As the birds soar to the big game, Broadleys is here to keep your home comfort in the game. Don't let a broken heater or leaky pipe ruin your celebration. Call Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning for fast, reliable service you can trust. Just dial 609-390-3907 or visit Broadleys.net. Go Birds and go with Broadleys, your hometown plumbing and heating champs since 1911.
When it comes to protecting my family's future, I want a life insurance company that's at the top of their game. That's why I got same-day coverage through Ethos. There was no paperwork, no waiting around, and no medical exam. I just answered a few health questions online, and Ethos set me up with a $3 million policy for about $2 a day. Go to checkethos.com and get it done today. That's CHECKETHOS.com. Checkethos.com. Sample rates is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hey, it's Bob Williams. The best time of year for football is finally here. The big game has arrived, and fans are excited to see who will be hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. You can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Check out their big game giveaway promo for your chance at $1 million in prizes. 25 winners will walk away with $10K in cash, and 7,500 winners will get $100 in bonus bets. No deposit or bet required. Opt in today in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated bench for football players. Today, Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning brings that same innovation and reliability to your home or business. Need plumbing repairs or a new gas furnace, boiler, or water heater? Ask about utility loans up to $25,000 at 0% for 7 years and rebates up to $29.50. Call 609-641-6440 or visit jenkinsandsons.com.
The home team is making the trip to the big game, which means you got to make the trip to the Pick. The Pick-A-Lily Inn does game day catering better than anyone, with ready-to-go pick packs your guests will cheer for. Get 30 tails or ears for just $59 in delicious hot and honey, smoker, honey barbecue, garlic parm, Jim Beam maple, or their award-winning buffalo in mild, spicy, or hot. Schedule pickup before game day and follow simple heat and eat instructions. The Pick-A-Lily Inn, Route 206, Shamong. Follow The Pick on Facebook for game day specials or visit pickaalily.com and order now.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN presents the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Adam Kaplan, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast.
I give my heart and soul to this franchise, as so many of us do.
Now live, this is Football at 4.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Mike Gill. We are live here at the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Wednesday, we'll be live at the New Orleans Convention Center, site of Super Bowl 59. We'll have plenty of insight and analysis and coverage. Our Scott Grayson, we just talked to him last hour. He is in New Orleans, and we'll be getting some information for us tomorrow as well. One thing we've been talking about for much of the day is the opening line for the Super Bowl. Chiefs -1.5, over under 50.5. The current line, it has not moved. It is still 1.5, Adam Kaplan. And a little surprised that the Kansas City Chiefs are still the favorite, or does that sound like it should be Kansas City as the favorite?
Yeah, that's. I thought it would open up at 2, Mike. It's strictly because of experience in this game. That's why. The teams are very even. They've changed, particularly the Eagles, since the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Coaching changes, pretty significant coaching changes on both sides of the football. Whereas Andy's got Spags back. He's got Matt Nagy, who could, by the way, when Andy retires, whenever that is, he could be his replacement. So he's got a lot of the sameness. There are more changes on the player roster than the Chiefs have. So I could certainly understand the continuity part of it, but this Eagles team has tremendous upside. You mentioned Hurts and Sirianni, Mike, before I came on here. They won a ton of games together. They won big games together. And here we are once again 2 years later where, look, I don't wave the pom-poms. We call everything down the middle. But I don't think we're going to have any problems with the turf this time. That's not going to be a problem inside the Superdome.
I would agree with you, and I thought that was a big story about the last time. That Eagles team had 70 sacks, more than this Eagles team did, and they could not get to Patrick Mahomes. And we talked about this in the first hour, Adam, about Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, the role that they have in the Eagles winning this Super Bowl.
Oh, there's no question, Mike. And particularly now, we'll talk more about this on your show later this week with you and Jeff. I know you guys are hosting together. But you look at Kansas City's problems, Mike. They've gone through 3 different left tackles. Joe Tooney, their left guard, is outstanding. At one point was the highest-paid guard in NFL history. They'll make that decision whether starting yet another game at left guard. And then you've got Mike, don't call him Frank Caliendo, that is going to start at left guard. So that's not good. Those are 2 significant changes. Other than that, the Trey Smith is outstanding at right guard. Creed Humphrey, the best center in football. And right tackle's okay, but the bottom line is when you look at it, that's an advantage, Mike, the Eagles' defensive line. Now, we know they don't blitz. They're a bottom 3 blitz rate. Chiefs are top 7 blitz rate, which is interesting. Spags does it a different way. It's not all zone blitz. He throws a variety of blitzes at them. And coverages, by the way, he has a variety of coverages because what he does is he has those sim pressures like the Eagles do. Eagles do a lot of stunning and sim pressures. They're trying to confuse the quarterback. So we'll see what happens, Mike. This is a very even matchup. And let's not forget, the last time the Eagles were in New Orleans was Week 3, and that's when they completely dismantled that Saints offense. And by the way, the Saints offense had never been the same after they were blowing teams out the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and let's get a little update on the injuries here with Adam Kaplan. The injuries, they were a story after the game 2 weeks ago, or I guess a week ago against Washington with Landon Dickerson. He could not finish the game. Juergens did not start the game. We know that Nakobe Dean is already out of the game. So injury-wise, Brandon Graham, what do we know about this Eagles team and their health entering this week?
Yeah, the Brandon Graham story is remarkable. And I was texting with Dr. David Chow, the former Chargers team doctor, who does the video analysis. He's the only former NFL team doctor that does this. And we're going to talk to Dr. Chow this week. And, look, he said, we didn't talk through phone, so I can only go through checks, but he still wants to see him go through the week. Now, Brandon is going to play because unless he has a setback in practice, which could always happen, yesterday, as I understand, was the test week to really see what he can and can't do. Brandon himself told the media that it went well, so we're expecting, barring a setback, that he'll play. And remember, it's his left triceps, which got surgically repaired on December 3rd. It's just over 2 months since the surgery, and he's been rehabbing. And he's going to wear a brace on that left elbow, Mike, because the triceps goes from your elbow to near the top of your shoulder. So look, we know Hollis Thomas had the injury when he was with the Saints. It's very, very hard to come back quickly. It's typically a 4 to 5 month rehab, as I was told. So he's coming back way early. We have no idea how many snaps he can handle. I know people are speculating 8, 10, 12. Nobody has any idea. Mm-hmm. It's simply how he gets through practice this week and what the coaches think of the game film. And Brandon, by the way, he's just got to communicate to the coaches because the other thing is I have no idea if he's been able to lift weights. We don't know what when you're 36, he turns 37 in April, I think. We have no idea on atrophy and what's happened with his body. We don't know. We have no idea his ability to lift. Now, we know lower body, obviously, he can lift because it's, you're not worried about that. It's strength-wise with his arms. And Andrew DeCecco and I did we did an update today. We went through all the injuries for both teams. It's really, quite frankly, to the Eagles. The Chiefs will have everybody on the 53-man roster. But so here's the good thing, Mike. I do want to update a couple things. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts with both had left knee injuries. They're no longer listed on the injury report with anything. So that's great news, Mike. Now, a couple pop-ups happened. Moro Jomo with a shoulder injury. They expect him to play. Zach Bond did not practice last Friday. He's got a groin injury. They expect him to play. Devontae Smith was his recurring hamstring problems, didn't work last week. They're not worried about it. He'll play. One little minor one, Mike, I do want to mention C.J. Uzomah, who's a blocking tight end. The question for him is, because he's on IR designation for return, so they'd have to clear up a roster spot. And obviously BG's they're going to have to clear up a roster spot with him. So it's hard to go through their 53-man roster, and other than Lewis Seen, who's the safety, the former first-round safety that the Bills had. They signed him off the Bills practice squad through a 2-year deal. other than him and Eli Ricks, it's hard to find anyone that they feel good about releasing or feel like it wouldn't be a big deal. So the roster moves, we should let people know. The last day for roster moves is Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, so keep an eye on that over the weekend.
What about the Chiefs? You mentioned Tooney and the offensive line there. Other than that situation, it seemed like they are relatively healthy as well.
Yeah, they've been one of the healthiest teams. In fact, Harrison Butker, he missed a decent chunk of time. But other than that, no, Hollywood Brown came back from that sternum. It's kind of like he had a collarbone injury and another part of his below the collarbone broke. That's why he missed 3 months. But he's back. He came back late in the regular season. Other than him, as I go through kind of what's happened to their injury situation, they've been really healthy. I mean, Mike, quite frankly, Chris Jones had a calf injury, missed the final 2 games of the regular season. But that's it, man. They're part of getting deep in the playoffs, Mike, is how healthy you are. And I think sometimes we forget about that. And look, the Eagles 2017 team, remember, let's not forget, Jason Peters, remember, with his significant injury, Darren Sproles and others. But you've got to have a bench. The great thing as we move back to this 2024 team, the depth on this team, Mike, is let's call it like it is, has been way better than we expected.
One guy, the depth I want to get your take on, because he did play in this game last year, and that was Oren Burks. Do you anticipate Kansas City going after him again this year, much like they did last year?
Well, see, here's the thing, Mike. Let's not forget. That one, there was no way that the Niners could have prepared for that because Dre Greenlaw runs onto the field and tears his Achilles, who Burks would fill in for. So I know the fans were getting on Burks, the Niner fans, but you got to understand that's a tough deal. Now, what I think you can do, and I know where you're going here, misdirection. Burks is he's about 6'3" and 0.2 of an inch, so he's a long, rangy linebacker. His first playing time was not good, but the last 2 games he's played really, really well, filling in for Jacoby Dean. So that's not been a problem. Now, is their depth at inside backers not great? That's certainly a problem. But the Eagles are a nickel team anyway, so you're only going to play 2 linebackers. Unless somebody gets hurt, they're in pretty good shape there. The other thing is, Mike, we should mention getting the bye last week. We talked about Jalen Hurts and Brown's left knee injuries. But Landon Dickerson, I know he didn't practice last week, and the Eagles expected him to play. Yeah. Getting him off his feet, getting Cam Jurgens with that bad back, where he just gets some rehab in. That's really big. The Eagles, of the 2 teams, there's no question the Eagles had a greater need for it. And the bye, getting that bye and getting the Super Bowl. Thank goodness, by the way, that you remember, Mike, over 20 years ago, we did not have the bye where they play the next week.
Yeah, I mean, routinely when I was a kid, my birthday just passed January 24th, and there'd be years where the Super Bowl was being played on January 24th, 25th, somewhere in that range. We used to get the Super Bowl. Now there's an extra regular season week, extra playoff week. I mean, this thing's pushed all the way into the second week of February now, but you're right. This extra week really helping Philadelphia. Brandon Graham could potentially play. It probably means Jurgens and Dickerson will play. And then, as you mentioned, it should clean up everybody else from the little nagging things, at least as healthy as they could be at this stage of the year. Your A.J. Browns, your Jalen Hurts, even Saquon Barkley, bangs, bruises. This extra week really evens everything up.
It does. It really helps it out. There's no question. Now, I will say this. Dickerson's expected to play barring a setback. We have no idea how effective he's going to be. Let's not forget, he left the last game. Everyone saw him on the sidelines, writhing in pain, pacing back and forth, barely wanted to play. They shut him down. And Jurgens, who did next to nothing in practice 2 weeks ago on that Friday, he had to come in and did a yeoman's job. Really did a nice job considering his back was really bothering him. In fact, you could see him in the locker room. I know the media was able to see him struggling a little bit with it, but he's good to go now. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens. By the way, the practice week is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Both teams should be able to practice at the stadium on Saturday. Saturday, and then they got the game at 6:30. So the week is. And by the way, we've got the media night tonight. For decades, used to be on Tuesday afternoon. No longer. It's Monday night because. The clubs complained that they did too much media availability as the week progresses. They wanted them to be done with that. that big media night, so they're doing it tonight in New Orleans.
Well, Goodell is talking now. One of the things he said, they have not had any formal discussions on extending the regular season to 18 games. As we're talking about, the rest and it's into the second, you're going to be talking about going into the third week of February potentially if that goes to 18 games. And I think you just said that's going to happen.
It's going to happen, and we're going to get 2 buys. Oh, yeah. In fact, I was very surprised that the NFLPA didn't shoot this down. Like, the 17 game for years, they shot it down, and they finally gave in. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, and then we'll have 2 buys. So this season is long enough. And you're right, Mike. It'll have to extend another week in February. It'll push free agency back to the 3rd week of March. And by the way, the draft now could go mid-May. I mean, that's not ideal, but that's the reality of it all.
There's so much about this game. We're going to have some great football at 4s, and Jeff's going to be with me during the week, and we'll be talking to the guys at 4 o'clock. And I know, Adam, you're doing stuff with Sports Grid, and we get a chance to catch up with so many interesting people. We've got some really cool guests already lined up. We're looking forward to some of the other people. But one of the big storylines a couple of years ago was after the game was the game that Jalen Hurts played. How well he performed on that big stage in that particular game. And I guess on a Monday here, I'll just ask you, do you anticipate this being a Hurts game or a Barkley game?
Oh, it's funny. People point to the Chiefs' great run defense. Listen, with the Chiefs, they're up so much, Mike, you have to throw in the second half if you're behind. But I know I'll be sitting down with you guys at some point later in the week. I feel like Hurts is going to rise to the occasion. I really do. Very impressed with his game against Washington. I know the yardage has not been there this season. There's a variety of reasons for that, but I love the game that Kellen Moore called. I expect him to do a really good job. It's not easy to play against Spags. See, the thing is, Mike, the Chiefs are not very talented at a corner. They just execute like crazy. And Trent McDuffie, by the way, is their best corner. He doesn't play nickel anymore. He doesn't play inside. He's on the outside, which is really interesting. Spags changed it up. It's a really good use of personnel, and I give Spags credit. So I just feel like Hurts rises to the occasion. You know what you have to do against Mahomes. They know Mahomes. They played him 2 years ago. They beat him last year, by the way. And was that a Monday night game in Kansas City? I forget. That was missed that really tough schedule. So the Eagles know him. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows Spags. Eagles know Spags very well. It's a very even matchup. Yeah, but before we leave, the over-under has not changed. I mean, no, the totals, the point spread has not changed at 1.5. The over-under total has gone down a point, depending or 1.5, depending which book you like. And I can't see the Eagles. I can't see it dropping to a point. I could see it going up to 2 points because of Kansas City's success and go for that first three-peat.
Yeah, the one thing, Spags, they know this team well. You just said it. They played 2 years ago. They know. You watch a lot of Jalen Hurts. You send him pressure up the middle and trying to get him to, anytime he seems to break that pocket, that play's dead. It seems like if you
he's not like Mahomes. Look, Jalen, I get it. He's not the greatest throwing on the run, but he's a big game quarterback. He just is. He seems to rise to the occasion. Now, the Tampa Bay game, the Tampa Bay games of the playoffs, let's not forget, A.J. Brown didn't play. Sometimes when they've played in big games, they haven't had everybody. But as we said here, and we'll end it with here, they're going to have everybody, barring any setbacks in practice. And if that happens, let's go. I mean, it's going to be one of those games, Mike. It's very even. I think the odds makers got it right. But the only thing the Eagles cannot have happen, you cannot give it to Mahomes being up 3 points and him have the ball last. That can't happen. I know they don't control a lot of that, but you don't want that. One of the best closers in NFL history. That's not what you want.
Well, and we'll leave it like this. Hopefully, if it comes down to a foot, whose foot do you feel better about? Butker, who won the game 2 years ago with 8 seconds left, or Jake Elliott's foot?
The butt kicker, yeah. No, look, at least the game is indoors, Mike.
Yep.
And Jake's been an incredible big game kicker.
Let's just hope it doesn't come down to an extra point kick for Jake.
Oh, and it's just so weird. You can't make a 33-yard extra point, which is a short field goal. I don't understand it. But again, let's hope Tyler Brown, the specialist coach, who did a great job when he took over in 2021. Actually, remember, he cured all that happened with the former staff. He turned Jake around to be arguably the best kicker over 3 years. This year it's been struggling, but Let's hope they got it. I got to run, Mike. I got another interview to do, but let's see what happens later this week.
All right, Adam Kaplan, Football at 4 from the Inside the Birds podcast, and we will catch up with him in New Orleans here on the Sports Bash. All right, there you go, a little breakdown of everything. Keep that in mind. Whose leg do you feel more confident about? This game was separated by a field goal. Harrison Butker kicked the game-winning extra field goal with 8 seconds left.
Right.
He makes the field goal. It was kind of a gimme. And Jake Elliott has struggled, but he's struggled in 2 areas this year. 50-plus, which has always been something that's kind of a sweet spot for him, and then extra points. He seems to be making any field goal from 35 to 50. It's over 50 and then under 35 that he seems to be having his issues.
And that's why you saw Sirianni go for it against the Commanders on that, 4th and 5, I think it was. That was in the 50-yard range, and Sirianni passed on the points.
On it, yeah.
And he went for it, and, of course, they made it. But, that's the decision-making that he has to deal with now.
609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. One of the things Adam did say is Brandon Graham is trending towards playing. Unless he has some sort of setback this week. Now, if you watch the Eagles get off the plane today, it looked like Brandon Graham was one of the first people off that plane, and he looked like he's ready to go. I would be pretty surprised at this point if he did not play. Although, if you think about the Phillies a couple of years ago, we thought that Rhys Hoskins was going to be activated for the NLCS. It looked like that was like a fait accompli, and he ended up not getting activated, and then they did not make the World Series. But Brandon Graham, it does look like, hey, what's the difference between Brandon Graham for like 8 to 10 plays or playing Bryce Huff?
Yeah, I think that's what we're down to. I'd rather take Brandon Graham rehabbing a torn triceps injury than a 100% healthy Bryce Huff at this point.
All right, Eagles media availability tomorrow will be Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Zach Bond, Reed Blankenship, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Josh Sweat, and Nolan Smith, along with Nick Sirianni. That will be the players that will be available. And our Scott Grayson will be there to talk with those Eagles players, and we'll have updates tomorrow on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash. And coming up.
By the way,
yep.
The 2026 schedule, did you see that about the Eagles going to Melbourne?
I did.
You
In
mentioned
fact,
Mailata there.
We looked at airfare already.
Wow.
It's a little pricier to fly to Australia than it was to Thailand.
Okay. Well, you start saving up for it now.
Now, do you like that?
Oh, yeah.
They're losing a home game.
They're losing another. So it's not the Rams losing a home game.
No,
it's the
Eagles would be losing a home game.
Another home game. They lost one to Brazil
now,
this year.
everybody was going like crazy about this. And I'm thinking they lost one to Brazil this year, and they're in the Super Bowl.
Right.
What's the difference?
That's what happens when you're a marquee team. You make the Super Bowl 3 times in 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
You mean you're going to get it.
Australia's a long flight, about 23 hours.
Longer than Thailand.
Yep, 23 hours. I met a lot of Australians in Thailand. A lot of people from Australia vacation to Thailand.
Because that's probably, a couple hours or 4
like
hours?
8 hours or
something
something like
8 hours,
that. Yeah.
okay.
But still, a lot of people from Australia, they fly to Thailand. So, when I saw that news, we did do the research.
I mean, you're on top of it.
Right on top. Well, they said it's going to be in October of 2026.
It's a good month.
October 2026, the Eagles will be playing in Australia. All right, when we come back, it's another edition of Nick's Nuggets here on the Sports Bash. And by the way, the truck has made its way to Clearwater.
I love that video.
There it is.
When they load up the bubble gum and the bats and the gloves.
Truck is on its way. Pulled out of Citizens Bank Park 1 hour ago. Nick's Nuggets will be live in New Orleans. Nick and I are traveling together tomorrow. We're flying tomorrow. Our flight's at about noon tomorrow. So the Nuggets and I will be heading to New Orleans tomorrow. Now, what time's your flight tomorrow?
My flight now, I have a layover in D.C.
Okay.
So I leave Philly at 10:30. The flight to D.C. is probably like 30 minutes. So layover in D.C., so I get in around 2:30.
I would like you to just drive to D.C.
Well, I wasn't doing that.
All right, we got the Nuggets coming up next on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
On 97.3 ESPN.
So you need a new car or SUV, but you're upside down in your trade, but you're worried about your down payment, but your credit is less than perfect. Bring your butts to any Matt Blatt Kia today. With over 1,100 new Kias, all with zero down, zero payments until April, or get $10,000 in bonus cash, or 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked Kia EV6 and 9. Buried in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released new all-wheel drive Kia Sportage or Sorento. 1.9% for 60 months. Matt Blatt Kia. With our PA and New Jersey Kia Superstores, Abington, Egg Harbor Township, Toms River, or right to your front door.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, $1,389 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 2/4/25. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
It's universal.
Can I get a root canal instead?
People strongly dislike the process of moving.
Please, anything but moving.
Because let's face it, it's hard. But if you've got to do it, make it as painless as possible.
Moving is a breeze with Clark's Moving and Storage. Use Clark's Moving and Storage for your next local or long-distance move. Visit Clark's Moving and Storage online at clarksmoving.net.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Winter is here. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Kelvy Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Kelvy Electric, the premier electrical contractor, serving South Jersey for over 110 years. Visit KelvyElectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NFL, the Eagles will practice this week in New Orleans, preparing for the Super Bowl rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs. Philadelphia entering the championship game with the second-best rushing attack in the league, the number 2 scoring defense, giving up just 17 points per game. Eagles looking for their second Vince Lombardi trophy, playing in their 5th Super Bowl. NHL, the Flyers heading to Salt Lake City on Tuesday to take on the Utah Hockey Club. Philadelphia has lost 3 straight games. They were shut out in all 3. They lost in Denver Sunday to the Colorado Avalanche 2-0, blanked on 24 shots. Tuesday's game will wrap up their 2-game road trip. They return home Thursday to host Washington. NBA, the Sixers facing the Dallas Mavericks Tuesday. Philadelphia has dropped back-to-back games. Sunday, they fell to the Boston Celtics 118-110. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
South Jersey Gas is your energy efficiency partner, helping you lower your utility bills and use less energy. Conserving energy and saving money has never been more important. However, sometimes it's hard to know where to start. That's where South Jersey Gas Conserve comes in. Conserve is an online resource with energy-saving incentives, easy tips for saving energy and money, and much more. Check out Conserve today and start saving at southjerseygas.com/conserve. Go Birds!
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Our next big weather story is a midweek mess. Start thinking carefully about travel plans Wednesday night into Thursday morning as a wintry mix of snow and rain moves in. A few clouds tonight, low of 44, only 47 tomorrow with a chilly breeze, mostly sunny skies. Mostly cloudy on Wednesday, coming down to 36, chance of a shower during the day. Then wintry mix Wednesday night, wrapping up as rain Thursday morning. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
There's a place where you can come as you are, see how it's made, and why we make it. You'll explore roads less traveled, steal a few moments, and slow down the clock. Then just kick back and stay a while. It's time to get away close to home in South Jersey. Head to visitsouthjersey.com to plan your trip today. We'll see you down the road.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
4:30 Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. We're live at the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Go for the big game right here at Ocean. Now I'm going to be in Tampa for the big game. What's your plan?
I don't have a plan yet, man.
Watching at home or?
You know, these big games like this, I like to watch them at home by myself, really.
Yeah. I'm flying from New Orleans to Tampa Friday night after our show's over. I won't be back until Monday morning, and then we're here Monday.
Right.
This travel schedule's been brutal for me. But
so you'll be watching it in Tampa.
I'll be watching it in Tampa. My flight home is Monday morning at 7 a.m.
With a bunch of Buccaneers fans who just are watching the game.
Not thrilled. I'm calling some games this weekend for MLB Network for a bunch of college softball games. So I'll be calling games on MLB Network. Saturday I have 3 games. Sunday morning I have a game.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
If I put on MLB Network this weekend,
yep,
chances are I'll be catching you calling a game down there in Tampa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's like a women's softball. I think I have Notre Dame against Tennessee is one of the games. I know I got Pitt one game, and I said, well, I don't know if I can't be biased against Pitt.
No. So
one of the games I have is Pitt.
So on the flight down to New Orleans, you're going to be studying the rosters.
Yeah,
of,
I have
SEC
the schedule.
softball.
I have 3 games on Saturday. I think 1, 4, and 7. One of those games or 2 of those games will be on MLB Network. The other ones are all on the Game Changer app. Game Changer's doing the whole event. So they're flying me down Friday night. I leave New Orleans about 7:40, sometime around that time, and then I call the 3 games on Saturday, 1 game on Sunday, and I can't find a flight to get me home in time for the Super Bowl, so I got to stay in Tampa. There's a bunch of us down there, the whole BFA crew. I mean, they're producing the game, so I'll be able to watch it with those guys. We have an Airbnb or something, but I like to be in my house watching the game. You know what I mean? I want to be on home turf Nick Earnshaw. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Mike? PG. I had a similar predicament last year during the Sixers playoff run. It was either go to the Sixers game or call a college softball game. I chose the college softball game. And that day, by the way, Mike.
Well, that wasn't the NBA championship.
No, it was the first round against the Knicks. So what I did is I taped the game and I turned notifications off on my phone.
See, I can't do that.
Completely. I never did it before. And I'll tell you what, it worked out pretty well. They did lose that game, the Sixers. I think it was game 4 or 5 when they lost to the Knicks.
What I've called games before. This is just to bring some people you're calling a game.
Yeah.
You could put the game on like an iPad and watch it.
I wanted to watch the full game in its entirety and have no clue. So I told the producers when I was doing the game, it was for ESPN Plus last year, I was like, do not tell me a word about the Sixers game. I don't want to give anything. Don't give me anything. Nothing.
Yeah. See, I've done that before. I've done that before, like if I'm calling a baseball game and there's because that happens a lot, like there's a baseball game during the NBA playoffs, like if the Sixers play one of those afternoon games, I'll have my laptop with me and I'll have the game on while I'm calling the baseball game. I can focus to do both, though. I know a lot of people can't, but I can, so...
Yeah, no, I wanted to be locked in for both. I wanted to be locked in for the softball game, and I wanted to be locked in for the Sixers game when I got home. I watched it in my dungeon by myself, and that's how I'll be watching the Super Bowl. And Peachy is 1,000% correct. Watch it by yourself. Don't let it go. Don't go to Super Bowl parties. I know Bill Burr had a great clip. I posted it out there. Don't go to Super Bowl parties if you're an Eagles fan. You can't do it because then you have all the people who have never watched any of the games all year asking you questions because you're the radio guy. You work for 97.3 ESPN. You got to answer all the questions. I'm not doing that. I want to be in my dungeon by myself. Don't bother me.
I agree. No, that's why I want to be home. Just me, my lady. We watch the game together, and that's it.
And you know what? These questions aren't even like X's and O's. It's just like random questions that you don't even know the answers to. It's not like deep, it's.
Well, we're here at the Fanatic Sportsbook, and, random guy walks up to you like, oh, what do you think about the Birds? I mean, what am I supposed to say? I think they're going to get their ass kicked? No, I mean, I'm going to.
And they'll ask you about the commercials or. Yeah, it's not
Taylor
fun.
Swift.
I got to ask you about Lil Wayne one time. He was what fan was he of, and why is he at the game or something? It was a Packers game.
Can I say something about the halftime show real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have no idea who Kendrick Lamar even is. I mean, I know who
Did
he
you
is.
watch the Grammys last night?
I've heard his name before. I do know his name. It's not like I've never heard of him. I could not tell you one Kendrick Lamar song. So, is he that big?
He's big.
He is doing the halftime show. I do not know. What song would I know?
His year was big. He had a big year.
What song is
his
it?
Diss track to Drake.
I know the whole Drake. I know they have some beef, but I don't know anything about one song. I know this makes me sound like an old guy, but I usually am pretty up on the music and stuff. I don't know squat about Kendrick Lamar.
You know what we're gonna do tomorrow, Mike? On the flight, we're gonna go a deep dive into Kendrick Lamar. All right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna deep dive. I'm gonna go through his entire playlist. We're gonna talk about Kendrick the entire way there, so you know all the songs that are coming.
Just full disclosure, Earnshaw, he was just singing along to Queen not too long ago, so that's what you're working with on the flight down there.
This is gonna be brutal. It's gonna be like I'm with Schweim all over again. It's like airdrop Kendrick Lamar. I mean, what am I doing over here?
Now, let me just tell you. So I just texted to Schweim.
Oh boy.
I have Doug Flutie is one of the guests that we have lined up. Now I know Schweim has been on he has tried to get Flutie on his show for years.
Oh, I've heard the whole story every single time. How much he's been.
So
trying
I just texted to Schweim, "Hey Billy, I think I got you Doug Flutie." So does it behoove me to be a nice guy and tell Billy he can have the Doug Flutie interview?
I think that would be very nice of you, Mike. I mean, I think that's a nice. I mean, he's been trying for years. We know how passionate Billy is about trying to get Doug Flutie. I mean, I've heard this over and over again. I try every time. You got to do it in the Billy voice. We're trying to get Doug Flutie for years.
Yeah, well, he struck out so many times for me last year trying to get guests. I got to get him one now.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, I guess are you even returning the favor? I don't know.
Well, listen, I know that he would be very excited to talk to Flutie. So I feel like while I would like to talk to Flutie as well, I know that it would be something special for him.
Right. Now,
and so I want to do that for him.
So I want to ask you, though, kind of going back to Kendrick, do you know any of his albums, like Good Kid, Mad City?
I don't know anything about the guy.
Damn.
I don't know anything about him. I don't know. I don't know one of his, like, maybe if I heard it, but it's not like, that Kendrick Lamar. I don't know any of them.
He's now I think he's like the third rapper all time to win 20 Grammys now. So he's been around the block for a little while.
I'm not saying that he's not good. I'm just saying I don't know. I'm not familiar with his stuff.
Did you even know the Grammys were on last night?
I did. Whose wife was dressed with no clothes on last night?
That was Kanye.
That was Kanye.
Oh, I thought, okay, so
Kanye.
Kanye.
No, they were not invited. They just showed up, walked the red carpet, and then they were escorted out of there by security. That's what happened last night.
That's what happens when you show up with no clothes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the only thing I saw. That's the only thing I saw of the Grammys last night. It was all over my social media feed, but I did not watch any of it.
Well, you know what we'll do? Because I'm driving you, Mike. We're gonna listen to Kendrick all the way there. So you're up to date. We're gonna listen to Kendrick all the way there.
I'm just surprised, like when they're like, "Oh, Kendrick Lamar's the halftime." I'm like, man, you would think if you're big enough to be the halftime show, I would know one song that you have.
Yeah, I mean, you probably do. You probably just don't know the name of it. You probably heard it in passing. I'm sure Josh has come back with Kendrick Lamar instrumentals before, and you just didn't realize it.
That's a possibility.
I think it's a real possibility. But we got to get into these nuggets. We got to start with nugget number one.
By the way, Nick,
yes,
I literally came back with Not Like Us coming out of that break.
It's a Kendrick song, by the way. That's the diss to Drake, Mike.
Gotcha.
Not Like Us instrumental.
I don't know anything from Drake either, I don't think, by the way. So.
We have
the
a
trumpet
lot to dive
song.
into.
Is that trumpet song we play?
Yeah. Trophies. You don't know Trophies?
Yeah.
Maybe if I heard it.
All right, we're going to listen to it all the way down, but we're going to get into these nuggets. I do want to talk about something non-Eagles related, but does tie back into the Eagles. Chip Kelly's back in the NFL, guys. He's back with the Las Vegas Raiders as their offensive coordinator. They just hired Pete Carroll as their head coach, and now he leaves the college ranks once again to come into the NFL. Now, I want to ask you guys this question. We know how much it didn't really work out here in the NFL. I mean, we've had players go on podcasts, talk about how he did not connect with the players when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think now, since the game has evolved since the Chip Kelly era with a lot of mobile quarterbacks and the offenses, do you think his offense can translate better this kind of second chance at coming back into the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kelly, I give him a lot of credit. Here's a guy who was amazing at Oregon to the point he was the hottest head coach. So hot that when the Eagles got him, people were pumped. He ends up coming here, has a great first act. I think it was more Kelly's personality. He just didn't have a personality for the pro game. And I think that was more of his downfall than him as an X and O guy. And then he ends up going to
San Francisco,
and he was just awful there. And then he ended up going back to the college game. And quite frankly, it didn't seem like his offense was nearly as prolific the second act there. But he did win the national championship there. But I think a lot of this is more his personality. I think Chip, he said, I don't even want to be a head coach anymore. I just want to do what I like to do. I've been a head coach. I've run teams. I just like calling plays. I want to go back. So to me, he has matured. And that's why I think this is better for him. Just say, you know what? I've matured. I don't need to be the head coach. Just let me call my offense. Just let me design my plays. And, so I think that it's a much more mature Chip Kelly than the one 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I think he doesn't necessarily have to connect with the guys on a Nick Sirianni level, right? You've heard LaShawn McCoy on podcast, LaShawn Jackson talk about how he really did not connect with those guys on a personal level. And in today's NFL, today's athlete, you need to connect with your players. Chip didn't do that the first go around. So now I think since he's been there, you'd think maybe he has learned a little bit. But it's going to be tough because the Raiders are not in a great position. They don't really have a quarterback. They really don't have anything. They have Brock Bowers and Max Crosby. And who knows what's going to happen with Max Crosby. So I'm very curious to see how this shakes out in their rebuild of the Las Vegas Raiders at this point. But I don't know. I'm very curious to see what happens with Chip and how that offense translates. If they're going to run the hurry up, they get a new mobile quarterback in there in Vegas. That's what I'm very curious to see because he doesn't really, as a coordinator, you just got to connect on an X and an O's level for the most part.
Well, just keep this all in mind, too. How much of a hand does Tom Brady have? Now, keep in mind, listen, they brought in Pete Carroll to be the head coach. That kind of says that Tom Brady valued a winner and someone who has a track record and somebody who has experience. And to say, look, we're going to go get Pete Carroll to be the guy who steadies this thing. We had, this Antonio Pierce who had no experience. We've gone through so many different head coaches. Let's bring in a guy who maybe for the next 3 years can really stabilize this program, and we'll see the next evolution if Tom Brady, the executive, ends up being better than Tom Brady, the broadcaster.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how much longer he will be a broadcaster after this Super Bowl.
Now, his agent has come out and said he is doing all 10 years. Now, I don't know that that really means anything, but he's making $37.5 million to call. Just think about that. The guy who calls the game makes more money than everybody playing the game.
I will say he was excellent again in the Commanders game.
You liked him.
He was excellent. Yes, he's really grown on me this season. Yeah.
He was much better. I will agree with Pete. He was much better in that Commanders game. He's gotten better as the years gone along. From that first game to now, you could see an exponential difference.
And
yes.
he's calling the Super Bowl this weekend. I mean, who better to have call the Super Bowl for you than the GOAT?
Well, the whole point is, right, you want to – see, I had very high expectations for him. I thought he was going to just be really insightful and really good, and he just hasn't been. I agree with you guys. I do think he's gotten better.
Yeah, I think he's gotten much better. He never did it before, right? Like, this was his first go-around at this. They just handed him the contract, said, we want the GOAT in the booth. Go do your thing and spew what you know best, right? So – that was he was kind of thrown into this thing. Then he becomes a minority owner of the Raiders. So that kind of threw him for a loop. Remember, that report came out that he's not allowed to be in team facilities other than the Raiders when he's calling games. So he has to zoom in, do things of that nature. He can't go on other teams' facilities. So it limits him a little bit as a broadcaster. But the guy watches probably tons of film and does a ton of preparation, just like he did while he was playing. So I'm sure it's not going to affect him too much, but that's also something to think about too, because of being the minority owner, he's not going to be able to do as much as a typical color commentator would, like Greg Olsen.
Yep, I know that he's gotten better. I do agree with that. And, not having the ability to sit on all those things, yeah. But I just thought that, look, this guy is the all-time greatest at processing and seeing and I thought you were going to hear that, like what he sees, and you don't get that as much as I was hoping for. That's all.
Yeah, it's crazy. But Chip Kelly, he's back in the NFL. So, and I believe the Eagles do play the Raiders at home next year. So Chip Kelly will be returning to the link at some point next season when the schedule does come out. All right, let's move along to nugget number 2. Guys, I would have been remiss if I did not bring this up. The biggest trade, I don't know, ever in any sport, North American sports history, Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. And it got me thinking overall with that craziness of that trade. I didn't know until I woke up the next morning. I did fall asleep early on Saturday night, 24 years of age, falling asleep at about 10:30 at night. It is what it is. But I wake up to that absolute craziness, mayhem. People thought Shams was hacked or something with that deal. But it got me thinking to you guys. I have one in mind. What was the craziest Philly sports trade in your lifetimes?
Well, I would guess the craziest sports trade, Phillies. Phillies or Philly?
Philly.
I got one. Multifaceted. When the Phillies traded Cliff Lee and acquired Roy Halladay on the same day.
Yeah. That's why I said Phillies or Philly. Because, all right, so Phillies, I think the Cliff Lee one where Philippe Aumont and a bunch of tomato cans for Cliff Lee. That one you were like, wait a second, wait, what? Because they had gotten Halladay earlier, and then like 5 minutes later it was like, wait a second. They just, that one was head-scratching. I mean, I was a kid when the Sixers traded Charles Barkley, and they got back Tim Perry, Andrew Lang, and Jeff Hornacek. Not a good trade.
No, not
Did not
at all.
turn out to be a good trade. I'm sure there are people listening that remember when the Sixers traded, like the Brad Daugherty trade. I was a little too young for that. Like they traded him. They traded he ended up being the number 1 pick in the draft. The Sixers got back, who was it, David Wingate, I think the guy's name was, something like that. I mean, that was a terrible trade for the franchise. The Jeff Rowland trade was because he was like a really good player, and they get Jeff Rowland, and you're thinking they got this great all-star center, which is something they really liked, and he had all sorts of knee and foot problems, and he just never played. So that was another a horrible trade. Trade.
Now the Flyers traded Jeff Carter and Mike Richards on the same day.
That was
to the Kings and the Blue Jackets, respectively. So
those were some interesting trades on the same day. That's a good question there, Earnshaw.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating because I'm just thinking of, like, what trade?
Roy Hinson, by the way, was the guy they got. Not, what did I say, David Wingate? Roy Hinson, the Sixers ended up getting from Cleveland.
Yeah, we did an episode of The Shift, and we were thinking of major league trades that were, like, crazy. The Doc Halladay one, to me, that was massive. You didn't see Doc Halladay coming to a Philly.
Well, Von Hayes.
Uniform. Yeah.
That's
a good one. Jimmy Butler. What about Jimmy Butler when he got traded to the 76ers? That was a pretty big deal. And who knows, with the craziness going on right now, there is still rumors that maybe they move on from Paul George and the Warriors are trying to get some type of star. Maybe you do bring back Jimmy, and maybe that'll spark Embiid's interest in playing basketball again.
Well, right. There is a report. Shams today was on Pat McAfee's show. Now, I don't know if you were watching when Grayson was on earlier. So Grayson was on earlier from our location in New Orleans, and right across from us is the McAfee show, like literally right in front of us.
You know what I plan on doing, Mike? I gotta ask Pat why he has you blocked.
Well, Grayson covered McAfee.
Good luck.
Grayson covered McAfee at WVU, so he does have a little bit of a relationship with him. So I told him, somebody's got to find out. Can he unblock me?
Yeah, I'm going to work with Grayson on that. We're going to get to the bottom of that before Friday.
Now, I'm going to leave it up to you or Pete G.
Okay.
To see who can get McAfee to come on the show.
All right. Sounds
what's
good.
the reward for that?
Yeah.
I don't know what the
sort of reward.
I don't know what the reward is, but, I mean, we have enough bait here. We've got Pete G, a WVU alum. I'm a WVU alum. Scott Grayson worked at WVU.
I got no connection, so you're out on that side. You just got me the yapper, so I'll go yap. I'll yap my way up to his people and try and get him on.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Now, are you prepared to maybe, throw some elbows, Badinsky your way up?
Are you kidding me? What do you think I did? I covered the presidential debate.
And all his other.
I covered the presidential debate, Pete. I threw bows like there was no tomorrow to get a good angle. All right, we're ready to go here.
That's right. I'm looking forward to seeing the techniques that you guys are using.
Oh,
and at the end of the day, I'm going to be grading who's been better at bringing people to raise the level of the show.
All right, sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. It's a little friendly competition. I'm ready.
Friendly. Yeah. Well, you both have to do better than Billy.
I think we'll be all right there. I think we'll be okay there.
All right, there you go. There's Knicks Nuggets here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform and on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button so you can watch all of our interviews from Radio Row this week. We will be streaming live video from New Orleans with all the guests live on the video screen on YouTube and on the X platform. And Knicks Nuggets are brought to you by the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Go to Ocean, go to the gallery, go for the win. For more, visit oceanac.com. Hey, when we come back, former Chief Joe Valerio joins us right here for a Cup of Joe. He's going to give us some insight on the Kansas City Chiefs. Can the Chiefs make it 3 in a row? And if they don't, what is the thing that worries Joe the most about this matchup with the Eagles? Find out when former Chief Joe Valerio joins me next on the Sports Bash.
Are you ready, South Jersey? As the birds soar to the big game, Broadleys is here to keep your home comfort in the game. Don't let a broken heater or leaky pipe ruin your celebration. Call Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning for fast, reliable service you can trust. Just dial 609-390-3907 or visit Broadleys.net. Go Birds and go with Broadleys, your hometown plumbing and heating champs since 1911.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. The Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. NJ.com ranked them as the #2 best restaurant in all of New Jersey. And this just in. It's their Eagles football special. Your table receives free tandoori, spicy chicken wings if the Eagles win for dine-in customers only. Join them for a special lunch buffet, Fridays through Sundays from 11:30 to 3 p.m. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Tune in to the Bet365 Play of the Day during the Sports Bash with me, Mike Gill, every weekday afternoon at 5:45 on 97.3 ESPN. Made possible by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Hey, AI, how many touchdowns did the Eagles score in the 2023 season?
The Eagles scored 49 touchdowns in the 2023 season.
Hey, AI, I had a fall recently. I need to recover. Please help me walk again.
I'm sorry, but that is beyond my capabilities.
Hey, AI, my parents are getting older and I can't care for them by myself. Can you help me care for them?
I'm sorry, that is beyond my capabilities. AI will never replace care, but here's what I found for the best care near you.
Autumn Lake Healthcare Centers, trusted leaders in skilled nursing rehabilitation and senior care, and proud partners of the Philadelphia Eagles.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 21st, get fast, reliable 300 megabit Xfinity internet with unlimited data included and an unlimited mobile line for just $30 a month for 1 year. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless plan auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated bench for football players. Today, Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning brings that same innovation and reliability to your home or business. Need plumbing repairs or a new gas furnace, boiler, or water heater? Ask about utility loans up to $25,000 at 0% for 7 years and rebates up to $29.50. Call 609-641-6440 or visit jenkinsandsons.com.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Why would someone looking for a mortgage at the Jersey Shore take a loan from a company in Detroit or North Carolina or some other far-off place? Online mortgages promise a lot but don't always deliver. First Bank of Sea Isle City knows the Jersey Shore. We are local lenders. We use local appraisers and provide in-house processing. We understand the unique obstacles of financing in Cape May County. Don't take a chance. Local banking is better. Let us guide you. First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him. It's a sack.
Sixers.
Oh, baby.
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Final hour, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Welcome back, everybody. We're at the Fanatic Sportsbook, home of the big game. If you want a place to watch the big game, go for the big game. Go for the win here at Fanatic Sportsbook. I'm Mike Gill. It's Eagles and Chiefs. Deja vu. 2 years ago, these two teams played, and right now we're going to break down this year's matchup. How similar is it to the one 2 years ago? Joe Valerio, former Kansas City Chief. He is host of Believe in Chiefs podcast on the Believe Network, and he joins us now for a Super Bowl Cup of Joe. Welcome back, Joe. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Mike. What's not going on? The list is shorter, my friend. There is so much to think about and talk about with this Super Bowl rematch. Look, I think this is the Super Bowl I don't think anybody in the country other than Philadelphia and Kansas City wanted, but it's the one they got, right? I mean, all the memes, all the internet stuff that was out there, right? It's Philly against the world. It's Kansas City against the world, both for their own reasons, right? We know Philly, it's always us against the world, and Kansas City's become that lately, right? Where they were the darling 2, 3, 4 years ago, they've seemed to have succeeded enough that they've become a villain. So very interesting times.
Yeah, and, I'm very intrigued to have this conversation with you, Joe, because, obviously you played with the Chiefs and you have, a very good pulse on this team. How does this team stack up against the last two? Because a lot of people think it's not the same team. All these close wins, the explosive plays aren't there. They don't score over 30 points. They just find ways to win. When you look at this team versus the last two, are they a lesser version? Are they just different? How would you kind of categorize this Chiefs team?
Well, what they've developed into, Mike, and I'm going to pull out the old cliche that I use all the time, especially when I describe this Super Bowl era Chiefs team and this sort of mini dynasty that they've kind of created. They have developed into a team that lives out the ultimate football cliche. We've been hearing it since we started playing Pop Warner. Defenses win championships and offenses win games. And they have literally been living that. And they have become almost a defensive team. When you really think about the wins that they've had this year and the way that they've gone about winning, they've scored enough points, held on to the ball just the right amount of time, made just the right plays to win games at the end. But really, at the end of the day, it's been their defense's ability to stop teams at the right time, create a turnover when they might have needed to, and to put pressure on a quarterback and make them make bad decisions at the right time, which was a perfect example was for all the fans that, kind of got ready for this game in Philadelphia, those that watched the Bills-Chiefs game, right? And I'm sure that the Steve Spagnuolo would have done the same thing to Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, you name the quarterback that may have or could have shown up in the AFC Championship game, he would have done the same thing. And that's what he has. And he did it to C.J. Stroud. He has an uncanny way of getting into quarterbacks' heads and totally disrupting their game. And he's done it, since he's been with Andy. So that's the way that I think this team is different. I mean, obviously, offensively, they're not as fast. They just don't have the breakaway speed that they used to. Even Travis, to a certain degree, right? Kelsey has lost a step. They don't have Tyreek Hill. I mean, yeah, Xavier Worthy, the fastest guy at the combine, but they haven't had to use him in that regard, other than running some jet sweeps and stretching across the field horizontally. So it's a team that's almost become like a grinded out team, and not really a team that just, like you said, is going to make those explosive plays. They've really been winning their games on defense.
So you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Andy Reid, two offensive savants, if you will. Do you look at this Chiefs team as more of a defensive team?
I do. I really do. I mean, as much as, people want to give Andy and Patrick the credit, Patrick is doing enough to win games, but you saw that, short of that one game where they kind of took a knee before they could have scored a little more than 30, they haven't been putting up a lot of points. And the point differentials have been astounding if you go game by game by game, winning games by 3, 6, 7. Like, this is not the team that you would have expected to have gone and had the record that they had, right? It's every week is like a grinded out win for Chiefs fans. And at some point you have to wonder, when does that luck run out? When does Saquon Barkley, right? When does Saquon Barkley break some of those runs like he broke in the last 5 games of this season, right? Where he busts out the runs they're morale killers, right? That think about what the Commanders, right? They have a 18-play drive. They're thinking, oh my God, if we can do this, if we can grind this out, even though we only scored 3, if we can hold on to the ball and we can keep Jalen off the field, and then what does Saquon do? Boom! First play, touchdown, 7 points.
So, in your mind, Joe, are the Chiefs? You said they're defensive, is kind of their calling card, but are they susceptible to giving up a play like that to a player like Barkley?
Not this particular team, and I'll tell you why. And I think it's the thing that if I'm an Eagles fan, which I am, grew up here. I mean, it's the team I root for. If sounds like somebody just won a huge jackpot.
Yeah, somebody hit something on the craps table over there.
Where you got to come down and pass around the drinks. But they have the linebacking core right now that has the speed and the physicality to control what I call the behind the line box. Okay, like there's obviously the box. We used to call it the closet. It's tackle tight end to tight end. 3 yards off the ball, where you've got your 4 big D linemen and your 5 ginormous offensive linemen just beating the living daylights out of each other, right? So that's the box. What the Chiefs have that they've never had before, and that's why they've slowly become a defensive team, is they've got a linebacking core that can take the next part of that box, which I call the 4-yard to 12, 15-yard box. You go a little bit outside the tackle. So maybe now you're going hash to hash and a little bit outside the hash. The Chiefs linebackers win that area on a regular basis, Mike. They've got the speed, the strength, the physicality, the agility to beat double team blocks. And so when the offensive line is what I call trying to get to the second level, right? So picture a guard and a center blocking Chris Jones. Okay, now he's a tough one to block, right? Or a Jalen Carter on the Eagle side. So everything is zone blocking these days, Mike. Nobody mans up and does like ISO plays anymore. They just don't. Everything is zone. Get in the hip pocket of your buddy, the guard in the center, the guard in the tackle. They come together as one. They block the down guy, and they try to block the linebacker with the down guy's butt, right? So if you try to block 2 guys with 2 guys, but you try to start with the double team. Every zone play starts with that, Mike. What the Chiefs linebackers are fantastic at doing, and if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm watching that play after play, is how do their linebackers get over the top of those double teams? So when a Landon Dickerson and a Cam Jurgens are double teaming, Chris Jones, are they able to get enough body on Jones and then get to what we call the next level? The Chiefs linebackers are very good at scraping over the top of those blocks and taking them on. And that's why my worry as an Eagles fan is like, all right, can Saquon get to that next level? Because if you hit him 4 yards, he's not Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? Like if they can pound him in the first part of the box and really wear him out, they may have to go to Gainwell a little bit here and there, because that's where the running back by committee starts to work. And that's why the Chiefs have a little bit of I would say almost a little bit of an edge with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, because those 2 guys aren't breaking Saquon Barkley runs. They're not doing the 20, 30-yard runs where you get past the linebacking core and you're off to the safeties. So they just keep rotating those guys, and it's 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards. Because the best way to win third down is to win first and second, right? And if you can end up 3rd and 3, your whole playbook is open. And that's what the Eagles, where I worry about them being able to handle those Chiefs linebackers, especially with guys like Chris Jones up front.
Well, it will be interesting because one thing the Eagles' offensive line, different from a lot of teams, they are pretty athletic. They can get to that second level. But Jurgens, back problem, didn't start last game. Dickerson had to leave the game. How healthy will those guys be? And, by the way, Mekhi Becton's a massive human being that plays guard. So that to me, we talked about this in the first hour, Joe. Joe Valerio, former Kansas City Chief, is with us here. That's one of the matches we talked about in the first hour, is the Eagles' offensive line against Kansas City up front, and then vice versa. Who's going to block Jalen Carter? You played the offensive line, Joe. What does that line look like with Joe Thuney having to play outside, it looks like here? How does that change the dynamics up? And the Eagles don't have, 2 years ago, they had Hassan Reddick. They couldn't get to the quarterback. Now, that field was less than desirable to play on. This field should not be a problem. But the Eagles don't have a Reddick, but they have a bunch of guys who just kind of are like pests.
Yeah, no. I mean, when I coached high school football, we ran the triple option, and we would say, how are you going to block a Jalen Carter if we're playing a West Scranton or one of those big teams that like we had no right playing as a small 4A school back in the day? I'd say, we're not going to block them. That's how we're going to block them. We're going to option them. We're going to run the double option midline. We're going to run the triple option. Like you can't one-on-one block Jalen Carter. You just can't. Like, you can't do it. So what the Chiefs are going to have to do is try to get him to line up on the right side as much as they can, because that should be the Chiefs' biggest fear. So the Chiefs' biggest fear is different than the Eagles fans' biggest fear. I think the Eagles fans need to be mindful of what's going on at the linebacking core. Not that the Eagles don't have a fantastic linebacking core, but Chris Jones, he can be blocked in the running game. The Eagles, when you're trying to block Jalen Carter, they better try to get him to line up on the right side so that it's Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith going against him and not Mike Caliendo. If Joe Thuney was in there and they had that, we call it the law firm, Thuney, Humphrey, and Smith. Like that, if you had those three guys, I would be a lot less worried as a Chiefs fan. The fact Caliendo, if they can get Jalen Carter to line up on the Chiefs' left side, the Eagles' right side, and they can get him that matchup there, that's where the Eagles are going to win. But, it just depends on how, the Eagles want to set the strength of that defense and where they would like to have him. Because what will happen is if they put him on the left, what are the Eagles going to do? Or the Chiefs are going to probably option a play, an audible, and get away and run away from him. He's just as dangerous from the backside, but you definitely don't want to be running him at the point of attack. And the Chiefs are a tackle-to-tackle running team. Other than the jet sweeps they do with the receivers and all that tricky stuff that Andy Reid and Matt Nagy do with motions, they're a tackle-to-tackle running team. And that's really, I think, plays into the Eagles' strength. So, Jalen Carter could be literally, I think, the difference maker in this game. If he can get after Patrick Mahomes and he can get in his face and he can beat those double teams with the little bit of that weakness that they have going on with nothing against Mike Caliendo, but he's not Joe Thuney.
Right.
That to me is
Joe
he
Thuney,
could be the MVP.
Joe Thuney, by the way, is much better at guard than he is at tackle.
Oh, he's a perennial All-Pro. His technique is unbelievable. Unbelievable technique. No matter how big the guy is. He's one of those classic guards that has incredible technique. And it's got to be scary for a lot of Chiefs fans knowing what could happen on the interior of that line if Jalen Carter gets rolling, because
right.
he is a beast.
Joe Valerio, former Kansas City Chief, once caught a touchdown pass from one Joe Montana, and, of course, he's a local guy. So you watch a lot of Eagles. He obviously follows the Chiefs as well. Last year's game, Kelsey in the Super Bowl, he found Oren Burks for the Niners, and they went after him. Is that something you think they will do again, or is that more because Burks, he had to come into the game. He wasn't slated to start. And then, he comes in as a reserve. But is that an area? Who defends Kelsey? Because this week at practice, it looked like the Eagles put Brent Selleck on the practice field, and they had guys like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and they had other players defending the tight end. So it doesn't look like they want Oren Burks in that mode of having to defend the tight end. Because that was a big story in the game last year.
Huge, and Travis is he finds his best when he can exploit the zone, right? I mean, he's lost a little bit of a step, Mike, and from a man-to-man perspective, I think if you're probably going to see some kind of a combination, like a 2-deep man underneath, trying to stop Travis from finding those open spots, man. That's where he shines. He shines in if he is in man-to-man, if they are in man-to-man and Patrick starts rotating out of the pocket and tries to find a different launch point, that's where Travis is special. And he's also special. He's a zone beater. I mean, he just knows his football IQ as far as getting into the spots where the linebackers aren't dropping, where the safeties are, where the corners are. Like, he just knows where everybody is on the field. And that's the part, that what do you do, right? Do you try to run a little bit more man-to-man against this team? I think you can, because they don't have this Eagles or the Chiefs team doesn't have the Tyreek Hill that's going to be a possession receiver way down the field, right? I mean, the Chiefs are going to try to dink and dunk you. They're going to try to beat you with the 10-yard routes, the 12-yard routes, the 8-yard routes, get a little bit of yards after catch, get the 3rd and 1, get the 2nd and 2. And that's their MO, is win 3rd down by winning 1st and 2nd. And I think that's that's how you defend, Travis Kelce is you think you're going to try to put some man coverage on him, put a big linebacker on him to beat him up, get him, bust him up at the line of scrimmage, keep him from getting out there, and then see if the other guys can play man against, what's become a little bit of a better receiving core. I mean, I know they're still missing Rashee Rice. That was a big loss for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But the
Eagles secondary is the Eagles secondary is much better than the one probably from 2 years ago.
Much better. So I would expect, a little bit of trying to disguise some things, and and when you go man to man, what you can do is you can blitz.
Let me get your couple quick takes here. As we're talking with Joe Valerio, former Chief. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. What do you think about that matchup this time around?
I think it's a huge plus for the Eagles. I think all in all, matchup to matchup, not even just like talent to talent, not just comparing the Chiefs receivers to those two guys. I think they actually match up better against the corners and the safeties of the Chiefs than the Chiefs receivers do against the Eagles. I think the Eagles have a much better game plan for really shutting those receivers down of the Chiefs. So I think it's a dynamic duo myself. I've been super impressed with look, AJ Brown, like when you think about like what he's done from a team perspective, like he is so selfless. I don't think people realize how selfless he is and how much he provides cover, not in that sense of coverage, but cover for the other receivers, for Dallas Goedert, for Devonta. I just think he blocks when he needs to block. He runs the crispest routes. I mean, I think it's a huge plus. I give a big check mark to the Eagles wide receivers, not just because they're better talented and more talented than the Chiefs wide receivers, but I think the matchup is even better and makes it a good one for Eagles fans.
So with that, I would ask you, if the Eagles were to have a big offensive day, is it more a Saquon Barkley day, or Jalen Hurts 2 years ago had a monster game,
killer.
Yeah, so who would be the guy who has the bigger game? Is it a Hurts game or is it a Barkley?
That's a great question. I think if the Eagles have the best chance of winning, it needs to be a Barkley game, because I don't think that the Chiefs are going to know how to respond to big running plays, not being out on the field a lot, chewing up clock, making big plays. Because, look, I love Jalen Hurts. I think the world of him as a person, as a player. Like, I love his story. I am a little, as an Eagles fan, which I am, I'm a little worried about what Steve Spagnuolo can do to Jalen Hurts with his just getting in his head and just giving him so many different looks and using that Spags, veteran coaching skills that he has, using that against Jalen. So I think it's going to have to be Saquon. And look, and Jalen Hurts had a fantastic, but he needed to, right? Because there was no other option in that game. It had to be Jalen winning with his legs, winning with his arm. We know that he is, God, with all this rest, you'd hope, knock on wood, that he's feeling healthy, but you just don't know how healthy he will be and how much he can take putting the game on his shoulders, both with his arm and his legs. So I think it has to be the threat of A.J. Brown and Devonta has to be there, but it's going to be Saquon that breaks this game open for the Eagles.
All right. Before we let you go, Joe, we got a lot of people texting in. Some people want to know, you played for Kansas City. You said you root for the Eagles. Are you like Jason Kelsey's mom here in the last Super Bowl? Are you like conflicted on who you're pulling for here?
I don't actually get real conflicted with it, Mike. I'm an Eagles fan. Look, I played for the Chiefs, and they were great to me and provided me a great entree into playing in the NFL, and I'll be forever grateful for the 6 years I spent there and go back to alumni weekend and have a blast. But look, I mean, when I wake up every day, I mean, I live in Philadelphia. My kids are Eagles fans. They like the Chiefs. We go out, we visit, we have friends there. But, this is my team. I bleed green. I mean, this is where I'm from. I grew up with, my birds, Bill Berge, Harold Carmichael, Ron Jaworski. John Bunting when I was in Kansas City, he was our linebackers coach, and JB was the best, man. And everybody loves John Bunning, old number 95. And every day I would walk past his office in the coach's area, and he would say, "Valerio, get in here. Joe, come here." He'd say, and he had the 1980 Super Bowl team up on the wall, and he would do like pin the tail on the donkey. He would go, "All right, who's this?" And he would point at a guy, and I'd be like, "Pete Perot." He'd be like, "Oh, it got me again." Woody Peoples, like I knew them all. Stan Walters, like I knew Guy Morris, like I knew every Eagle. He couldn't get one guy over on me, and that's just who I am, Mike. I'm a Birds fan. I'm an Eagles fan.
Right.
So, because I got to tell you, if there was a parade, I haven't been to a Chiefs parade. If there's an Eagles parade, I've been. I'm going to the Eagles parade because that's my team. It's where I live.
We got another listener who says he played against you. He was at Strathaven. You were at Ridley. He scrimmaged you when you were at Penn, and he was at Westchester.
Nice.
And he also mentioned Joe V was a great high school catcher.
Oh my goodness! Well, that was my first love. I thought I was actually going to play baseball in college, and then all of a sudden I went from 5'10" to 6'5" in 1 year. I was like, "Ooh, that's going to be tough to put the catch." I don't think the shin guards went all the way up to my knee at that point. So I decided to turn my love to football, but baseball was my first love. So yeah, it was that's awesome. Well, hello out there.
Well, Joe, always good to catch up with you, buddy. It's good to see you. Eagles, Chiefs.
You too,
Maybe
Mike.
we'll try to connect one more time before
I hope
now
so.
and the end of the week here. He is the host of the Believe in Chiefs podcast, and maybe next week or this week, later on in the week, maybe on Friday, we'll try to pop Joe back on and get some more thoughts on this matchup between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Good to see you, Joe.
I love that, Mike. Great to see you too, buddy. Thanks, man.
All right, there's Joe Valerio, former Chief, here on the Sports Pass Live on 97.3 ESPN. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking with Andrew Brandt, former front office executive with the Green Bay Packers, with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's now host of the Business of Sports podcast, and he's going to give us some insight on the two front offices, why these two teams have sustainability and are the two best teams in the league. It's a Howie Roseman thing, and it's an Andy Reid thing. Andrew Brandt joins us next here on the Sports Pass Live on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hi, I'm Larry Mintz. When dealing with a workers' compensation claim, in most cases, the injured worker doesn't get the money they're entitled to. That's why you need the right lawyer. When injured on the job, call us first. We'll speak with you for free and get you all the money and benefits you deserve.
Make the right call to Golden Bird Mackler. Call us at 609-344-7131. That's 609-344-7131. Or visit us online at gmslaw.com. Underdog.com.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. The Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. NJ.com ranked them as the #2 best restaurant in all of New Jersey. And this just in. It's their Eagles football special. Your table receives free tandoori, spicy chicken wings if the Eagles win for dine-in customers only. Join them for a special lunch buffet, Fridays through Sundays from 11:30 to 3 p.m. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NBA, the Sixers back in action Tuesday night hosting the Dallas Mavericks. Philadelphia has lost back-to-back games. They fell Sunday to the Boston Celtics 118-110, where they blew a 17-point halftime lead. Tyrese Maxey scored 34 points. New Maverick Anthony Davis, who was traded to the Mavericks from the Lakers for Luka Doncic, will not play on Tuesday. NHL, the Flyers are in Salt Lake City Tuesday night taking on the Utah Hockey Club. Sunday, they were blanked by the Colorado Avalanche in Denver 2-0. The Flyers have now lost 3 straight. They were shut out in all 3. They do return home Thursday to host the Washington Capitals. The Eagles working out in New Orleans this week in preparation for Super Bowl 59, a rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs from 2 years ago. Philadelphia allowing 17 points per game, the second best scoring defense in the league. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Our next big weather story is a midweek mess. Start thinking carefully about travel plans Wednesday night into Thursday morning as a wintry mix of snow and rain moves in. A few clouds tonight, low of 44, only 47 tomorrow with a chilly breeze, mostly sunny skies. Mostly cloudy on Wednesday, coming down to 36, chance of a shower during the day. Then wintry mix Wednesday night, wrapping up as rain Thursday morning. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Craving a tasty breakfast or lunch? Come on down to Hot Bagels and More. They've got fresh baked bagels, irresistible spreads, and a mouth-watering selection of sandwiches, perfect for any appetite. Join them in Northfield, Atlantic City, Summers Point, and 2 locations in Margate for flavors that keep you coming back. Don't miss their homemade tuna and chicken salad, along with hearty soups. Order ahead or take advantage of their catering options for your next event. Hot Bagels and More, where every bite is a delight. Visit hotbagelsandmore.com or stop in today.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, Sports Bash live at the Fanatics Sportsbook here at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. I'm Mike Gill. We will be in New Orleans all week long, but the two teams, how did they get here? How were they built? The Business of Sports podcast. Andrew Brandt, he worked in the Eagles front office, long time in the Packers front office, and now his Business of Sports podcast is a must listen. And on a recent edition, which made me want to reach out to Andrew and talk a little bit more about this, he mentioned the two teams that were the most well-run are the last 2 teams standing. And, Andrew, that is the Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. And so many times we look around the league and we look at skill players and talent and quarterbacks and coaches, but sometimes we overlook front office and ownership. And it sounds like in your Business of Sports podcast, you think that these two teams are here for a reason, and it could be ownership and front office that is a big reason why they're here.
Yeah, good to be with you. I always look at when these teams are successful, why are they successful? Why do they have sustained success? And often it comes down to looking closer behind the team, not just on the surface level of on the field or on the court. I think in both these situations, they've really built something special where they've had such sustained success. Sometimes people equate sustained success to Super Bowls, of course, which the Chiefs have, but being successful over a long period of time like the Eagles have been is hard in a business that always reverts to mediocrity. It makes it hard to stay good for good teams and makes it easier to get better for bad teams through the draft and through all the rules. So I'll go through quick thoughts on each. You know, the Chiefs have been able to manage this team in a way that they rely on the magnificence of Mahomes, and they understand that. So they have an offense that doesn't use a lot of resources from a cap and cash point of view. They have sort of these mid-career receivers and running backs that have been let go by other teams, whether it's Hopkins or Juju Smith-Schuster or Kareem Hunt. They have not been accused of having the best offensive line out there. And, of course, they rely on an aging Kelsey who still can pull off some magic. But, again, it's Mahomes. And they've locked up Mahomes for extraordinary amount of time, like a 12-year contract. And, yes, they've readjusted it a couple times, but they always have leverage when they have him under contract for so many years. So they've really managed that offense well. And then what they've done on defense is use 6 of 8, 7 of 10, 6 of 9 draft picks over the last 3 years on defense. So they have a developing, young, opportunistic defense that really fits what Steve Spagnuolo wants. Some of these players you look at and say, wow, why'd they take him so high? It's because they fit. And Brett Veach does a great job of molding his players to his coaches for Andy and for Spagnuolo. And, of course, more relevant here, we move to Howie. Howie is a master negotiator. And what we've come to in the NFL is we have a lot of GMs that come solely from a scouting background. And while that's great for picking players, it's not great for being a GM because they get taken advantage of by a master negotiator who's done this forever on the contract and cap side and now takes it to a much easier audience on the GM side. And he has consistently developed good trades where he's won the battle of the trade. He's won contract negotiations, paying players less than other teams pay them. And it's worked. Even when there's dissension for getting a player on the cheap like Hassan Reddick, he just moved the problem out and got a third-round pick for the trouble from the Jets. Yeah. So everything's kind of worked, and he's really put together a masterful roster.
Andrew, as I'm sure you're aware, he was a pretty polarizing guy years ago. I mean, there were people who just could not I said at one point he may have been the most hated Philadelphia sports figure that I could ever recall. I mean, people just wanted him fired, immediately. But you've worked in this front office, and how much has he learned from mistakes and kind of matured and evolved from where he was, even the first Super Bowl that they won in 2017 to getting back there to now getting back here a third time because, he's one of these guys that people hated him. Now it's how he sees it and they love him and he can do, he's a very interesting polarizing figure with this organization.
Yeah, he is. And as you mentioned, I consulted with him and Joe Banner almost 10 years ago when they were moving him. So they're moving him from cap contract to personnel. Andy was still there. And they needed someone like me to come in and sort of handle the cap until they developed a new cap person, contract person. So anyway, I saw it, and I saw his development. And I think what he is still dealing with, even with all the success, is this bias, like people who watch the movie Moneyball, that, hey, you aren't a scout.
Right.
You don't have this ability to pick great players. And what I saw was he worked at it. He wasn't just someone that came in from the financial side and said, now I'm going to go pick players. He went out there, to all these bowl games and to all these campuses, and he worked the craft of scouting to go along with his craft of negotiating. So I always look at people, do they work at it?
Yeah.
Do they have the strong character work ethic no matter what they're doing? And he's done that.
Well, and Andrew, because we're talking with Andrew Brandt, he's host of the Business of Sports podcast. He's worked in the Green Bay and Philadelphia front offices. He was criticized for his drafting. I mean, obviously there's some major blunders where you take Rager over Jefferson. But that happens to everybody. It's just when you make those mistakes, they stand out. But how surprised are you at the way their draft has gone the last 3 years? I mean, they have hit almost a home run in almost every single pick, it seems like, the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, you can even focus on this year. I mean, they were a great team last year for most of the season until it fell apart. But then they have a weakness at outside linebacker. They bring in this Baum, who turns into an all-pro. A weakness at corner. They draft 2 that may be starting for the next 10 years. They have a weakness at defensive coordinator. They bring in the best one in the league. They have a weakness at running back. They bring in the best one in the league. I mean, it's just home run after home run. And I think they took a roster that I thought was pretty stacked last year, and they made it even more stacked. Listen, I know people, believe me, I married into a Philadelphia sports family. People can be critical, and sometimes they've kind of sleptwalked their way through some of these games. But I'm pretty certain they're the most talented roster in the NFL, and they'll be the most talented team on the field on Sunday. So it will not surprise me or anyone if they win this game.
Well,
and just putting it together then, yeah.
Andrew, so I listened to your podcast, and you touched on it a little bit here. You talked about how the Chiefs, they spent their money, with the quarterback and then on defense, and then they've kind of got, some veteran wide receivers. They didn't put a lot of money there, but how does Roseman, is he doing something that no one else has figured out or they just don't know how to duplicate, where he's able to get A.J. Brown, Smith, Hurts, Barkley, and then I think the biggest difference between what they do and everybody else is he's paying the offensive line too. I mean, those guys are making some big money up there. So what is it that Roseman is able to do to get all these guys paid and happy?
Well, there's no one answer, and there's no, soundbite to answer that. But he's able to get good contracts. Now, there are a lot of money being spent, but Jordan Mailata is not making what the top tackles make. Devontae Smith is not making what top even 1A receivers make. And as I mentioned, Reddick was making $15 million a year. Top pass rushers are making twice that. So he has played the game. Now, the other thing is they're doing a lot of voids where you take a cap, the bonus is prorated for cap purposes over a certain number of years. If you have a void, you can void out future years. So basically that's pushing out the pain. So there will be some cap pain going forward. But when you look at this roster and you look at Saquon Barkley being the seventh highest paid player on offense, think about that. What could be the MVP is the 7th highest paid player on a team's offense, behind Hurts and Johnson and Mailata and Smith and Brown and Dickerson. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's going to be interesting to see how he does this offseason with Becton. I'm sure that – and Bond. Bond's going to need to get paid. Becton, I'm sure, came out of nowhere to have a year at guard. So we'll see his contractual gymnastics this offseason, we'll say. I want to get your take. I know you got to run here. Kellen Moore looks like he's going to go to the Saints, although the Saints got some big problems, it looks like. I don't know if I want to be a part of that organization now if I'm Kellen Moore. But if he ends up leaving, how tough is it to overcome changing that position 4 straight years?
I'm sorry, what position is that?
The offensive coordinator. If Kellen Moore leaves, to have to – sorry.
I mean, that is hard because what the obvious point is about these two teams is the continuity, especially a head coach and quarterback. And that is hard, but I think it's a testament to this team and this organization that they lose these coordinators, obviously.
That's the one thing with Kansas City, right? Spagnuolo and Bieniemy were there. No one really came after those two guys. I know Bieniemy left, and then Nagy just stepped right in there. So they've had, because Andy had some problems here when he started to lose guys.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be tough. And I don't know the inner workings of the offensive staff. My sense is there's somebody on that staff that's being groomed if and when Moore leaves, or they'll do what they did with Vic Fangio and go out and pay. I mean, listen, the news I just saw about an hour ago is Chip Kelly going to the Raiders for $6 million a year. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. And Spagnuolo's at $5 million. I don't know what Fangio's out, but these guys are making more than head coaches, these older coordinators that make a difference on these teams.
Andrew Brandt, the Business of Sports podcast. Make sure you download that and take a listen. It's always must-listen NFL fans out there and a lot of other stuff. It's very good on the inside business of sports. He was a consultant with the Eagles, the vice president of player finance with the Green Bay Packers. By the way, I just watched the Aaron Rodgers Netflix the other day. That was a very interesting what an evolution of human being that guy's gone through. But Andrew, always enjoy the podcast, and we appreciate you coming on.
Always enjoy it. Take care, Mike.
All right, Andrew Brandt, everybody, former Philadelphia Eagles front office and Green Bay Packers. He was a guy, interestingly enough, with Green Bay. He was on one side negotiating contracts, and then he was on the other side as an agent. So he's kind of done everything in the NFL in terms of front office. I listened to his podcast last week, and I really wanted to get that insight here. I did watch the Aaron Rodgers, what's it called? Josh, have you seen it? The Netflix. Have you seen it, Peachy? You know what I'm talking about?
I have not.
The Aaron Rodgers Enigma. It's called Enigma. He is out there, man. It really goes from him getting started growing up, playing high school, not being recruited, having to go to junior college, the draft night, sitting behind Favre, becoming the MVP, winning the Super Bowl, and then kind of like.
Now, does it cover his psychedelic
big time.
Journey?
Big time. Okay. And that's just what the whole thing about it is so weird. It's like, okay, you're watching this guy, and he is like in a tent playing the bongos, like with his face painted. Like, you're like, this guy's won a Super Bowl. And he's just like, oh, hey, yo. I think it's worth watching. It's 3 episodes. It's called Aaron Rodgers Enigma.
Maybe I download that for the plane tomorrow.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, I got the Bet365 play of the day coming up next. Plus, we'll get you set for Radio Row and some of the guest lineup we got working on. We're going to be off tomorrow. Josh will be filling in for me tomorrow because we will be traveling to New Orleans tomorrow. And then we'll be back on the air on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday live from New Orleans. So we'll get you some of our guest lineup for the next couple of days right here on the Sports Bash, live from the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Hey, before I go, I'm going to tell you about my friends over at the Nizam's Indian Restaurant on an EHT, Route 40, the number 2 ranked restaurant in all of the state of New Jersey, ranked by NJ.com. They welcome bookings for hosting events and complete food catering services. And now they have their lunch buffet 3 days a week from 11:30 to 3, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with over 20 items on the menu. This way, you can check everything out. Find your favorite dish and enjoy their favorite fan dishes. Open 7 days a week. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
Super Bowl 59 is on Westwood One.
The Philadelphia Eagles are headed to New Orleans.
Now the Chiefs are on the doorstep of history, going for a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Graham. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Devin McCourty, and me for all the action right here.
Exclusively on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's home of Super Bowl 59.
So you need a new car or SUV, but you're upside down in your trade, but you're worried about your down payment, but your credit is less than perfect. Bring your butts to any Matt Blatt Kia today. With over 1,100 new Kias, all with 0 down, 0 payments until April, or get $10,000 in bonus cash, or 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked Kia EV6 and 9. Buried in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released new all-wheel drive Kia Sportage or Sorento. 1.9% for 60 months. Matt Blatt Kia. Kia with our PA and New Jersey Kia superstores. Abington, Egg Harbor Township, Toms River, or right to your front door.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, $13.89 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 2/4/25. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Up top, Bike Shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Go get your game on at the Gallery Bar, Book, and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery, go to Fanatic Sportsbook, and go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
I'm Mike Mackler. At Goldenberg Mackler, we represent you, not the insurance companies. When seriously injured in any type of accident, call us. We'll speak with you for free and fight to get you the money you deserve. When injured, make the right call to Goldenberg Mackler.
For the best lawyer, call Goldenberg Mackler. With 4 convenient locations to better serve you: Atlantic City, Northfield, Rio Grande, and Vineland. Call us at 609-344-7131.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, get ready to get out of here on this Monday. Fanatic Sportsbook, check out the big game here this Sunday. Eagles and the Chiefs. We got the Bet365 play of the day, Josh. What do we got? How we do?
Mike went 2-0 on Friday.
2-0, Pete.
Pistons covered. Sixers, Nuggets hit the over.
Oh, I like that. Sixers Nuggets call. That's a good one.
What does that make us on the year?
You have now hit the 100 mark, 169-1.
100 wins, 69 losses, and 1 tie. All right, I got a couple winners for you tonight there, Pete. Put these on the point.
You know what? There's actually not many games on.
Well, I got 3.
There's only one NHL game. I know you don't care about that, but NBA-wise, I mean, it's not many.
It's nice. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Actually, there's a nice slate.
There's a big slate tonight. I was going to say, I got 3 games here for you.
Yeah.
I got Memphis -3.5 against San Antonio tonight after the big trade with De'Aaron Fox. They're on the road at Memphis. I got Memphis tonight -3.5. I got the Knicks tonight -6.5 against Houston. Houston's been pretty darn good, but I got the Knicks tonight at home 6.5. And I'm going Oklahoma City. It's -16.5. I like them against the Bucks. That Oklahoma City team is awesome.
Now, -16.5. I doubt any of those guys for the Bucks are playing.
No, I don't think so.
There's no chance.
I don't think so. So I'm going Oklahoma City, Memphis, and New York tonight. That is my Bet365 plays of the day. All right, so, PG, we're going to be in New Orleans on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We got a good guest list already kind of coming together here. But we vow to continue to work hard to fill that guest list up when we're there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's a big role for you. And
I know. But you know what?
Earnshaw.
There's guys everywhere.
Earnshaw, I think, is he's the guy.
I'm going to follow his lead.
He's the ace of my staff right now.
Yeah.
No, I told him, I said.
Now, I consider myself like Aaron Nola. I'm the cagey veteran.
Yeah.
The grinder.
Look, I feel like that when you have a guy that you have like, when we were in Clearwater, you got like Freddie Mitchell to come on.
Years ago, Freddie Mitchell.
We had a great one time when we should do our show in Clearwater again.
I don't know why you don't do it anymore, because you like going down there and
just hanging out.
Yeah, hanging out.
Why not?
Letting loose.
Wednesday's show, we're going to be talking to former Vikings tight end Kyle Rudolph. We're going to be talking to morning show host and former New England Patriot Chris Canty. Former Eagles linebacker Stephen Tulloch is going to be on the show. Former Falcons wide receiver and ESPN radio host Harry Douglas. Former Atlanta Falcons GM Thomas Dimitroff is going to be on the show Wednesday. I'm looking forward to that one big time. Also, former Green Bay running back Amon Green on Wednesday's show. Westwood One Super Bowl sideline reporter Laura Oakman is on the show on Wednesday. And former Cowboys running back Daryl Johnston is on Wednesday's show. Brian Baldinger is going to stop by on Thursday's show. Dante Hall, former Chiefs wide receiver, is going to be on Thursday's show. Lorenzo Neal, former Chargers fullback, and more. We'll talk to you Wednesday from New Orleans.